By the way, Jason,
Yes.
I posted the Zoom link up on the webpage right above your channel thing.
Okay. All right, good. Don't say that again until later.
Are you? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Whatever.
I just hit the button live. So welcome, everyone. This is Jason KM6FAK. We'll be getting started here in a few. As you can tell, a lot of things on the screen and a very special guest. Very special guest today. We have Chris from the UK and with a call of 2E0UKH. So here in a little bit, you'll hear from Chris. He got just a pinch of sleep, but he's going to share a lot of digital information with us. Being that we're fairly new to the digital realm, at least I am, and a handful of us here at the local repeater. And hello, I see Mike is also there on AllStar, and we've got a few other people. So that's great. And who is net controller tonight? Is it you, Nick, or is it Carlos?
Good evening, everyone. This is KN6DAL, Nick from Everett, Washington. I'm tonight's coordinator for the 2-meter crew Antinet. And I just want to take a moment to thank the owners and supporters of the W6VVR repeater and the Vaca Valley Radio Club for allowing us to use the repeater for tonight's Antinet. If there's any priority or emergency traffic during the net, you're welcome to break in with break followed by your call sign. And I'll take a moment. Is there any priority traffic at this time? All right, nothing being heard. The 2-meter crew is not an actual club. We're just a group of hams that are learning and enjoying all things ham-related. There are no dues or fees to be a 2-meter crew member. For more information, you can log into the number 2metercrew.com or visit us on Facebook at 2MC. This is an open net and everyone's welcome. Please feel free to join in. The 2-meter crew Antinet meets every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. on the W6VVR repeater. The frequency is 146.470 with a negative offset of 600 kilohertz and a PL tone of 127.3. It can also be accessed by EchoLink at WG5EEK or through our AllStar node link at node number 51094 and through the DMR talk group of 3149964. The Antinet is also being live streamed on YouTube channel Ham Radio TV. For the 2-meter crew website, WA6PKJ.
Okay, thank you, Nick. Not too much to report. We've got about 265 registered crew members, so that's getting pretty big. One thing I'm checking into right now is looking at different ways to integrate some of the.
We've got no audio on Rod.
No.
Oh, sorry about that, Rod. I forgot. This is KM6FAK. Can you start over, please, again, Rod?
Yeah. I said there's not too much going on the website. We've got about 265 registered crew members, so that keeps climbing. One thing that I'm checking into right now is to see what kind of ways that we can integrate some of the live feeds and things like that from the Wednesday night Antinet up onto the website. So if somebody doesn't want to go through, standard application channels, I'm trying to aggregate or thinking about aggregating a bunch of stuff up there so they could just go there to join in and things like that. So that's about it. Thanks.
Awesome, thank you. And Derek, K6DJV, are you around for an update on Facebook? Derek's MIA. I'll just note we're at currently 135 members on Facebook. If you'd like to join, you can join at 2MC. Just look that up, and we'll get you signed in there. Moving forward, are there any DXing reports or anything that's planned in the future amongst anybody that they want to share? All right, and I'll turn it over to Jason real quick. Anything in the live stream chat going on?
Hello, Jason here, KM6FAK. Gosh, I've been switching between everything. Have not been keeping up in comments. We're missing Mike tonight. He's not available, but I will scroll through that and see what's going on in the chat. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, everything is doing great. Everyone, for the most part, is coming across the repeater, as I am. And then when some of our Zoom guests need to speak, I have a broccoli rubber band on the PTT, and that simply gives me the ability to keep the hammer down. All right, thanks, Nick. Back to you, KM6FAK.
Thanks, Jason. Yeah, it's amazing what kind of ingenuity we come up with on the fly when we need to. So moving forward, as far as check-ins go, we kind of had a discussion, and to make check-ins a little bit easier for everybody and to condense time-wise a little bit, we're going to run it just a little bit differently here. So for those of you that have had an opportunity in the past to check in with the 2-meter crew antennae, I'm going to ask that you hold off on presenting any check-ins, and then later on in the net, we're going to have an opportunity to participate on the repeater, as well as we're going to open up our Zoom meeting, so anybody that would like to join and be a part of the conversation after, we're welcome to do that for as long as that goes. And so with that being said, I would like to take a moment to take check-ins from stations that are either new to ham radio or have not had an opportunity to check in with the 2-meter crew. So if there are any stations out there that are new or haven't had an opportunity to check in with us, please come now.
W6BKM, Bill from Auburn.
All right, Bill, I got W6BKM. Welcome. You said you're in Auburn. Is that Auburn, California?
Just a little ways up the hill from you guys, and I'm coming in through EchoLink.
That's awesome. Well, thanks for coming in. We appreciate you checking in, and I'll move on to the next person. Is there any other check-ins that haven't ever checked in with the 2-meter crew before, or new stations that are new to ham radio?
This is Phil, KM6QLG out of Vacaville. Been listening, but never chimed in.
All right, Phil, thanks for coming in, and welcome. What kind of radio are you running?
Well, right now I just grabbed the throwaway Bofang, but I did make it to the Diablo site, just kind of looked around. I'm with Jason and the other crew at the Vaca Valley. I've listened in, just, kind of cool. Getting ready to tune into YouTube to see what Jason has.
Great. Well, thanks for checking in with us tonight, and we'll move on to the next station. Any stations that have never checked in before, come again?
Alpha 0 Zulu, Kyle, St. Louis.
All right, I think I got Alpha 0 Zulu. Is that correct?
That is correct. Coming in through AllStar, St. Louis, Missouri.
Well, awesome. Thanks for checking in with us tonight. Are you running directly through a computer, or are you operating through a radio as well?
a hotspot, and then I'm just here on a Baofeng, and I am streaming you guys through YouTube. So that's how I found you. I subscribe to the Ham Radio TV channel, and it's great. It's awesome. I love watching you guys do your anti-net. So back to you, AA0Z.
All right, thanks so much for checking in. Next check-in that's new to the 2-meter crew or new to ham radio, come now.
This is KA2CAF, New Jersey.
All right, KA2CAF, what's your name?
Look at this picture.
Neil, November, Echo Alpha, London.
Great, Neil, thanks for joining us tonight. How are you coming in?
Well, I can't get my RIM Malenko working yet, so I'm on my iPhone. EchoLink.
That's
All
what
right, well, it's great to have you with us tonight, and thank you for checking in. Next station.
Kilo Mike 6, Quebec Whiskey Yankee, Kent in Orinda.
Welcome, Kent. Can you come again with your location?
In Orinda, Contra Costa County.
All right, thanks for checking in with us tonight. What kind of radio are you running?
I've got an old Kenwood 2-meter all mode. It's a TM255 Alpha, 40 watts, I believe.
Awesome, you're coming in good, and thanks for checking in with us tonight. Next station.
Kilo Mike 6, Lima November Papa, Tony in Placerville, California.
All right, Tony in Placerville. I think I got it. KM6LNP. Welcome, and how are you coming in tonight, and what kind of radio are you running?
Coming in on the W6 VVR repeater with a Yaesu 857D, 50 watts.
All right.
Awesome, it's great to have you, and thank you so much for checking in. Next station.
W1, Foxtrot, Julius Foxtrot, Tennessee, name's Fred.
Fred, thanks for coming in. What mode are you coming in on tonight?
DMR, and we're running an Anytone 878.
Awesome. It's good to hear that DMR talk group is linking up properly. I know a couple weeks ago they were having a little problem with that, so good. It's good to have you, Fred. Thank you for checking in, and we'll move on to our next station that's not ever checked in with the 2-meter crew before, or anybody new to ham radio.
KM6GWO, this is Corey, Vacaville.
Corey in Vacaville, welcome, and thanks for checking in. What kind of radio are you running tonight?
I'm coming in on low power, Ocean HT, radio handheld with aftermarket Diamond 320A antenna. It is a tri-band radio, and it's held up well, and having a lot of fun with it. Over.
Awesome, Corey. It's great to have you, and thanks for checking in with us. Next up, anybody who has not checked in with the 2-meter crew or anyone new to ham radio.
Net Control, this is Kilo India 4 Sierra Super Frank. Chris from South Sutter County, good evening, no traffic.
All right, Chris, got you in there. Thanks for checking in with us. Next station, anybody new to 2-meter crew or new to ham radio?
This is Mike, KI6HHJ, here in Petaluma.
Mike, thanks for coming in with us tonight. Next station. Right, nothing being heard. We'll move on to our next topic and also circle around before we open the net up and give anybody who didn't get a chance to check in that was new to the crew a chance to speak up there. So tonight we have, like Jason alluded to, we have Chris with us from the UK. He's from, and tell me if I get this wrong, Chris, from Northants, England. He has a YouTube channel with about a little over 4,500 followers called Digital Analog Ham. You can also look him up on Facebook. His call sign is 2E0UKH. And he's going to talk with us a little bit tonight about what he's doing in the ham radio community over there. And we appreciate you coming in, Chris, and the floor is yours.
Flats, there's not a lot of things I thought I could do, regarding ham radio, but analog, I've explored everything I can do, analog and digital. I've got 6 hotspots running. I do HF. Can you see in the background? I've got a mag loop antenna. That is a 2E0UKH mag loop antenna. That one does it does 20 meters to 10. I've got another mag loop that does 40 meters up to 20.
Hey Chris, are you sharing your screen? Chris, are you sharing your screen?
No, not sharing the screen.
Oh.
I'm just on camera at the moment.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, and I'm bringing you in through Zoom, just so you know.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay, so this is KM6FAK, and we missed the front half. So what's your call?
Okay, yeah, it's 2E0UKH.
All right, thank you. Please continue. Sorry.
Okay, that's fine. I didn't see myself on the stream. I wondered where I was. Yeah, I was just saying, I do everything I can, analog and digital. I'm in a block of flats, like I think you guys call it a condominium, and it's quite difficult, isn't it, doing ham radio sometimes. So I've explored all the things I can do here. In the background, I've got a mag loop antenna, ideal for an apartment, a condominium, and I've actually got 2 mag loops. That's going up into the loft. I've got another one above it, so I'm running that on the Yaesu FT-991A. And I've got 6 hotspots running, D-Star, DMR, Fusion, AllStar, IRLP, and an experimental one. And thanks for having me on Ham Radio TV. I've been looking forward to it.
All right, very good, Chris. Let me, my face is not popped up here. All right, so out of all that, what do you think your favorite mode is to operate? Or where do you find yourself the most operating?
Well, probably DMR, because I like the affordability of it. on DMR, just looking on my shelf, I've got the Anytone 878. I've got two 878s, the 578, the Retivis RT82, a couple of MD 380s on Fusion. I've got the FT-70 and the Yaesu FT-991A. Also got the FTM100. I did have the FT3D. I sent that back. D-Star, I'm using the ID51, the anniversary edition, and the Kenwood TH74. And where do I find myself most? Mostly on, I do like DMR, but they're all so different. DMR, I like DMR because you can change talk groups so easily, especially on the Anytone. You can long press the 0 button and you can go to a talk group that is not actually programmed in. And on D-Star, I find that slightly more awkward to change talk group, to try and change reflector. For someone starting out, the best value is DMR, or EchoLink. Yeah, thanks, Fred.
Holy smokes.
Doing that, man.
Am I reading that right? Thank you so much, Fred. Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
we can definitely afford Zoom now.
Yeah, that's a friend of mine, by the way. He's joined us on the, he's followed me over. He's a wonderful supporter of my channel and a great enthusiast.
Awesome. Well, great. Well, is he out there and able to chime in digitally?
He logged in on the AllStar.
Oh.
I don't know. Yeah, he did check in with you.
Okay. Well, Fred, if you're out there, we'd like to hear from you. And if you don't want to, that's fine. But there's no way of me asking if you want to say hello. So at least say hello and introduce yourself. I think it's very interesting. You're there across the pond and enjoying us on this side. This is Cam6FAK. Go ahead, Fred.
Yeah, Fred is over your end, by the way.
I'm here.
All right.
I can hear Fred.
Oh, you can hear Fred?
Yeah. He's coming through Zoom.
Yes, I'm on DMR right now. I can, but Chris has always been a good friend of mine, so he's a good guy. He's does some great videos.
Awesome, Fred. And whereabouts are you?
Tennessee.
Okay, very good. And did we get you in the logger?
6 CMB, I've got Fred.
All right. That's the other Chris. What a team. Well, excellent. Okay. Well, hey, Chris, I'm curious to know if anyone out there on the radio or on YouTube, for that matter, has any questions for you. It sounds like you might have some of the largest arsenal of digital gear, and you might be a great person to ask. So go ahead. I'll open up for any questions on the repeater.
Yeah, Chris, this is W6CRP. Copy.
Yeah, W6CRP, go ahead.
I think I see you talking on Zoom, but I'm not getting you over the radio.
Okay, I can use the radio.
Your format. Who are the most folks that are involved with your net? Is it mostly there in the UK, all across the world? Kind of who all is chiming in there with you?
Yeah, well, the nets are, I do the nets in the UK here. I have people calling in on AllStar, DMR, Fusion, and something Jason might like to consider. I also have people calling in on Zello, we all know what Zello is. Probably we do, probably we don't. It's a free thing, and a lot of hams use it, but it's a good way for beginners to get involved in these live streams. So it's worldwide.
Well, thanks, and I imagine those folks coming in and all the digital modes are from all over the world. Are they predominantly there from the UK, or where you see most of your activity from?
Well, in the YouTube analytics, it's actually America. It's actually quite a huge amount in America, but we have it's mainly America, Australia, UK. I mean, any English-speaking place really. I've had people from Afghanistan. There's it's not always UK-speaking places. Very interesting hobby. Speaking to people all over the place. I am a big fan of AllStar. I've got my AllStar node, and me and Fred talk a lot on AllStar and DMR, and I am actually a beta tester for Anytone, an official beta tester for Anytone, and I test all the new radios coming out. There's a new power supply coming out with which incorporates an Anytone 578 into it, and I've got that on the way.
Sounds really interesting. W6CRP.
Yep, W6CRP. It is a very interesting hobby, and the thing I like about it is social media. If I had a YouTube channel talking about shoes or something like that, you'd never come into contact with the people that you're talking with on social media. But with amateur radio, you go on, you've only got to key up and someone says, I recognize that voice, and strikes up a conversation. It's a wonderful connection. I'm just reading the comments. I do have EchoLink. I've got a node called 2E0UKH/L, and I'm on that at the moment. I can hear the radio chatter. It's coming through Zoom, so I didn't want to cause feedback. But I can take calls on the radio. I've got the FT-70 here.
I have a
Hey,
question.
Chris, this is Nick, KN60AL. I had a question for you. We talked a little bit about using digital modes for simplex work, and a few of us thought that was pretty intriguing. Do you think you could talk to that a little bit on how that works, and maybe explain it to somebody that has never dealt with that before?
Yeah, well, that's something I'm very keen to promote. If you can, turn your hotspots off and try digital without using the internet. Just reading the comments. Yeah, hello there, Ham Radio DX. So if you can, if you've got a digital radio, they do. We know they do analog FM. Take D-Star for example. It does analog FM. You can get into FM repeaters. You can do FM simplex, but you can get into D-Star repeaters over RF, and you can also use D-Star simplex, D-Star digital, DV mode. So on some of these modes you can actually get quite far, longer. You can get further distances than FM. On DMR you can get, I think they say 25% further, and the reason he was just asking me about simplex digital, it's because I've done a lot of long distance contacts on DMR using no internet. Getting it, every time I go on holiday, I go to the same place. I love it there. My dad loves it there. I'm sort of go along to the same place, and I've explored the coastline. On the cliff tops on the east coast of England, and I found a place where I can open repeaters in the Netherlands every single time. Nearly, there are exceptions.
You have a question there.
by the way, it's digital. In the comments, it's digital analog ham on Zello as well. So yeah, you can get into repeaters a very long way away. I'm talking 145 miles, 200 miles on digital. Something to think about, especially when we're all locked in. Something to try. Switch your hotspot off, see how far you can get on RF, because it's a lot of fun.
All right, so I'll open the floor up for the next question. This is KM6FAK with 2E0UKH.
Whiskey 6, Quebec, India 0, W6QRZ. Quick question for Chris.
Yeah, by all means, go ahead.
Hey Chris, Hammond's Robert here in Reno, Nevada. This camera is P25 a digital format that's used in your homeland there? Whiskey 6, Quebec, India 0.
Yeah, P25. Yeah, thanks for the question. P25 is a very interesting high quality mode. It's the bandwidth is 25 hertz. Is it 25 hertz? It's very high quality. It's a bit like using Fusion on wide. In the UK, there's not a lot of activity, but you can do P25 using an open spot 3. You can cross mode. So I've not tried it, but I wouldn't know. To be quite honest, I wouldn't know a good talk group to go to. I have looked into it, but it's something I definitely want to try. I've got to get an ID number for that.
All right, thank you very much for your reply. W6QRZ, standing by.
All right, thank you, Hayden. He was quick on it. Yeah, P25 says 12.5 kilohertz. Awesome. All right, anyone else out there on the repeater via any mode you might be using? I have a question for Chris, or really for anybody or anything ham related.
I had a comment there. This was for the other Chris, N6CMB. If you want to maybe chime in on the repeater here, I know that you had talked with Chris and then tried out working a little bit of digital simplex D-Star. If you could talk to about what your experience was.
CMB, absolutely, yeah. Definitely inspired by Chris. We were chatting on the Zoom after the net kind of wound down last week, and he was giving me a little perk about, using D-Star Simplex, and it never really even struck me to try it. It's really easy to set up. You pretty much just get on frequency and get into D-Star mode, and you're off and transmitting and encoding your voice digitally and sending it across. We've made a bunch of contacts here throughout the week, trying to see if maybe we could squeak a little extra distance. I think we're all still debating whether we really did get any more distance out of the transmission, but sure had a good time with sort of a new mode using digital in the simplex. And the next time I get up, on Mount Diablo and doing some calls on the national calling frequency, I think I'll include some digital stuff up there and see if I can't see how far I can reach with it. A lot of fun. Definitely recommend you guys give it a try. I'm a very new ham. I've had my license for about 36 seconds, and if I can figure it out, you guys can too. It's they didn't pick the best terms for some of the words, but for sure. I think that with a little bit of effort, you'll figure it out, and it's just more fun you can have with your ham radio. Yeah, thanks for that, Chris.
when I heard about the idea that you could use a digital mode to make a transmission via simplex, it seemed like it made so much sense right off the bat. I had never even thought to try that, and I was so happy that that other Chris from the UK had brought that to our attention, because one of the things that a lot of us really like to do is, go as far away from each other as possible and then try to make a simplex contact, and so that just jives with what I like to do as part of ham radio. So it's definitely a very interesting thing, and I think it's a lot of fun to see somebody that can bring that to our group. So thank you again for that, you guys. And then, is there any other questions that anybody has for Chris while he's still on?
I have a question, if you can hear me.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Rod.
Hi, Chris. This is WA6PKJ Rod in Northern California. I was wondering, I missed a little bit of you up front, so I'm not sure exactly all the things that you're doing, but I'm curious as to any types of integrations with other technologies you might have been researching or exploring, like things along the lines like we're doing tonight with integrating Zoom into YouTube, and then having the live feed with the through the repeater all kind of mixed together to create a multifaceted sort of experience. Have you explored anything like that? Over.
Yeah, that is an excellent question, because I was saying earlier, I don't know if you heard it, because you've just joined us, I think you said, I like integrating social media with ham radio, because whether it's Facebook or YouTube, I've got it's a similar size channel, my YouTube channel, to this, but luckily I've had over 1 million views now, and I've only got to key up on the radio and someone recognizes me, my distinctive voice or enthusiasm, and I have been experimenting with Zoom, but I found a very, very good alternative, which might be better because it runs in the browser. You don't need the software. It's called Jitsu, Jitsu. You might want to put it in the link in the comments, Jason, later. Jitsu, and you go to jitsu.com. No, it's not Jitsu. Forget that. Jitsu, it's a strange URL, but it's jitsu.live or something like that. And you can have loads of people calling in the browser, just like this. And it works and it's unlimited time limit. This is 40 minutes. So that's another good one to try.
Okay, thank you, Chris. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries. Very good question.
All right, I'm gonna.
By the way, Jitsu. Sorry. By the way, Jitsu, on the PC, you don't need any software. If I wanted to now, I could say I can make up a room. I can say I've got a room called Digital Analog Ham, and you just go to Jitsu. You don't need an account. You just type in that name I've given you, and you'll be talking to me on video. It's as good as that.
All right, very cool. Well, let me open up the repeater, KM6FAK.
KN6DAL here. I have one more question for you there, Chris. Have you done any work with bridging different digital modes, as in maybe taking C4FM and converting it to AllStar or vice versa, or any other digital modes to another? How challenging is that? And for the person that would just be starting out with that, what would you consider the best avenue to start if you've done any work with that?
Yeah, well, sort of. I have, I've got an open spot 3, for example, and I can go in on DMR and come out on Fusion. I can go in on DMR and come out on D-Star, or P25. You know, you can come out on P25. That's one of the ways I was considering doing that. You can do NXDN. You can go in on one mode and you can come out on another using the Open Spot 3 because it does transcoding in the hardware. It's got the amber chip in it. That's the only way I can do it. I mean, you can do it with a jumbo spot, you know, with a MMDVM. You can do it. You can go from DMR to Fusion, or you can go from Fusion to DMR. So that's the easiest avenue to do it.
Awesome. Well, thank you. I'll open it up one more time. Is there anybody that has any questions that they'd like to ask Chris?
Kilo India 7 Uniform Echo Foxtrot.
Kilo India 7 Uniform Echo Foxtrot. Go ahead.
Greetings, Chris and the net from Central Oregon, just about 20 miles north of Bend, Oregon. I'm on my AllStar node here, and I'm hearing you guys via a friend of mine in Reno, Nevada, and I've just tuned in. I apologize. If you could just recap where your guys' net is located, I'd really appreciate it. Sorry, the question isn't for Chris. If it needs to wait till later, that's absolutely fine. That's absolutely okay. Thank you for taking my check-in and comment. KI7.
Yeah, no problem at all. I'll actually just recap that really quick. And we're a pretty disorganized bunch, so you can jump in with any question you want anytime. But the net is held on the W6 VVR repeater. It's a frequency 145470 with a PL tone of 127.3. There's several ways to access it digitally. One would be through EchoLink, which is you're going to look up WG5EEK to link up to it that way. Our AllStar node number is 51094. And then the DMR talk group number is 3149964. And if all else fails, you can always tune into YouTube at Ham Radio TV, and you can watch this live streaming in real time. And then those are always logged later, so you can go back and watch if you don't get a chance. So there's absolutely no excuses to not be part of the anti-net.
One comment.
I think I heard a comment in there. Go ahead.
Yeah, W6CRP. I was just going to add that the W6 BBR repeater is in the San Francisco Bay Area. It's in Vacaville, kind of near Mount Diablo area, 20 miles away or so. And our net controller tonight is Nick, who's running this from Everett, Washington. And then our guest speaker is Chris from the UK. So it's been kind of fun, everybody contributing these different modes, and we're just kind of learning as we go. And yeah, the 2-meter crew, this net's been fun. So we're all over the place. Thanks for calling in from Oregon.
Yeah, thanks again for coming in with your question. Well, Chris, I think that wraps it up. I really appreciate you coming in. Again, to everybody, his call sign is 2E0UKH. He's from England, and his YouTube channel is Digital Analog Ham. And you can also look him up on Facebook, and that's also Digital Analog Ham. He'd love to have you and check out a couple of his videos and see what we can all learn together. So I definitely appreciate you coming in tonight, Chris. We really appreciate you staying up late and giving us your time. So thank you so much.
Yeah, okay, yeah, thank you for having me on. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Could you just bring up one video on the screen? I saw you moving my my YouTube chat just to get people motivated to try this long distance stuff. If you could search for long distance contact.
All right.
Long distance contact, 145 miles RF. I can send Jason a link to it. I'm just getting a link. Long distance contact.
Do you see the? Oh, it's a delay.
If you click on the search from within my channel, you'll find it. Just to show people, that's the one. That was on an Aliens HD1, and I went out at midnight up on the cliff tops on the east coast of England, and you know, I was on holiday. I didn't have a hotspot, and I was following the propagation. I was following the William Hepburn charts at dxinfocenter.com, and I noticed that there were some very good conditions, tropospheric ducting, and I went out and I trusted my instincts. Well, I was in a chalet, and I was hearing stations from abroad, you know, indoors on a rubber duck. So I went out, and I mean, this took a lot of planning. 6 months before, someone reached out to me with a code plug, you know, with all the settings, with every Netherlands repeater programmed in, and I went out with their settings, you know, with them all programmed in, and I made lots of contacts into FM and digital repeaters abroad in the Netherlands. Yeah, long distance contact, Aliens HD1. Any combination
Google
of them
Fi.
will bring it over.
Yeah, we got it here.
I mean, you're welcome to play a bit if you want. You're not going to get a copyright strike. You can forward it a bit because it's a lot of waffling at the start. But if you forward it to about 2 or 3 minutes, you'll see what I'm doing. Get an echo test across the water. My voice, it will say repeater fail. If I open it on FM, we'll hear a beep back. So I'm just going to go through as many as I can. Right, this would be very good. This is an echo test. This is an echo test on PI7 UTR. I'm standing up on the east coast of England. My voice, my transmission is going across the water. I'm standing by the sea. Look, there's the pier there in Great Yarmouth. It's midnight here, 1 o'clock in Netherlands. I'm going to see if I can get an echo test across the water. 2E0UKH, 2E0UKH. I'm just checking what my audio sounds like going 150 miles across the water and back over RF. I have no hotspot. (2E0UKH). I'm just checking what my audio sounds like going 150 miles across the water and back over RF. I have no hotspot. Fuck's sake, that is awesome. Right, I'm stopping the video there before it's damaged or corrupted if someone contacts me.
All right, very good. All right, this is KM6FAK playing a bit of Chris's YouTube. Very interesting stuff, Chris.
Yeah, so that was an echo test on a parrot. You know, an echo test is when you do a DMR group call 9990 and no 9999. No, sorry, it is 9990, and what you say is repeated back to you. And I got into the repeater in Utrecht, which is 145, 150 miles away, and you know, it worked a treat. And that transmission went from my handheld on the cliff tops in the UK, 145 miles across the water into the repeater and back to me. And a lot of people say the world, you know, the maximum is 100 miles, but I've actually proved that wrong. It's not 100 miles. I got a lot further. Anyway, over to you.
All right, very good. Over to you there, Nick, KM6FAK.
All right, well, thank you so much. If you guys have any more questions, you can look at the live feed on YouTube, and there's some links in there to check out. We're going to shortly move forward on to, let me see if I got this. We're going to move forward on to just some quick questions here. If there's anybody that has any tech support questions or is new and needs any help with their station or anything like that, we're all here to help. Feel free to come now, and we're happy to answer anything that you may need. All right, well, if we don't have any questions, shortly here we're going to open up our Zoom meeting to give everyone an opportunity to jump in if they'd like. We'll see if we can break that. And again, I just want to thank Chris. Thanks for taking the time to jump over and talk with us tonight. If anybody has any questions for him, I'm sure he'll be around for just a little bit. This is an open forum conversation, so anybody's welcome to jump in. If you didn't get a chance to check in earlier, you can feel free to check in and just say hi and ask any questions that you like. So the floor is whoever wants to take it. KN6DAL.
Whiskey 4 Mike Alpha Foxtrot in Richmond, Virginia. Also, right now, QTH is currently in Mineral, Virginia.
Hey, welcome back. How's everything going over there?
Hey, all is fine. I'm being quarantined right now. Coworker got a little sick, so we're waiting for his test results. I did want to share with the group that it's been great having Chris on as a guest tonight. Just wanted to make people aware that you really shouldn't be going on the national call frequency in a digital mode. It wouldn't be as appreciated. I haven't done much with D-Star. I've done a few frequencies. There seem to be quite a few out there. My searches online, the first one that pops up and I've used is 145.67, then 145.75, 145.79, and 147.555. I haven't searched any further than that. I can tell you, according to John Crook from Yaesu, the C4FM simplex channel is 145.562.50. Not only is that the national frequency, it's the worldwide frequency, according to John Crook. He was on America Link about 3 or 4 weeks ago on a Monday night and shared that information that it was worldwide, not just national. In addition, I haven't played around with DMR much, but here in the U.S., and I'm giving all these frequencies according to the U.S., which C4FM is excluded. It's apparently worldwide. DMR in the U.S., as far as I know, is simplex. National simplex would be 145.79 and 145.51. I can be corrected. I could be wrong, but just want to throw that out there. Throwing it back to net control. You guys are doing great net tonight. Thank you very much from W4MAF.
Awesome. Thanks for that information. Again, this is November 6, Delta Alpha Lima, Nick in Everett, Washington. I'll give a minute here. Is there anybody that has any suggestions for topics for the anti-net? I know that's something that hasn't came up a whole lot, but does anybody have any suggestions of things that they'd like to hear, questions that they have about anything? We might be able to track down someone who's got some experience with it and get them on the air on another anti-net and see what they have to say. N6CMB. Yeah, Chris, go ahead.
Yeah, I'd like to hear embarrassing stories about Jason, our post on YouTube. If anybody's got any of those, that'd be a great topic.
What? What did this turn into a roast?
I have a question, Nick.
Well, you guys got to give Jason a little bit of slack, okay? So for those of you that don't know what's going on here, Jason has literally got one hand on a trigger, another hand on a microphone. He's messing with multiple computer screens, all just to make all of this work for everybody. So we do owe him just a little bit of credit, but a little bit might be all he gets.
Does everybody know he drives a Prius?
I have to drive far, and I'm saving the gas, although gas is quite cheap. Thanks, Mitch.
Which battery do you hook your radios up to on that Prius?
Well, very good point. You know, that's the prepper in me. Always be prepared and have lots of batteries. And I just thought, what better than a car with a giant one you can drive around?
I have a question.
Jace, love you like a brother. I only tease you because you're a good man and a better guy than I. Just want to say howdy to everybody. Name's Mitch, WUNQ. And Jason, thanks for all you do, and everybody else pulling the strings in there. Jace, thanks, buddy.
All right, very good, Mitch. Rod, I heard you in there. Go ahead.
All right, thanks, Jason. I have a. This might be a little bit far afield, but I don't know. I've been done radio communications professionally, you might say, in the military and whatnot. And I heard a lot of weird things during that time, a lot of strange signals, a lot of unusual behavior, in the airwaves. So I thought maybe, and I've investigated a little bit through the internet, and found a lot of strange stories about strange RF signals, strange radio operations putting out strange signals, and a whole lot of mystery. So I thought that might be an interesting topic, for one of the anti-nets. Thanks.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. Yeah, go down some rabbit holes.
All right, I've got that etched in. We're going to have to discuss that a little bit further. It sounds right up our alley.
I don't know. YouTube might just kill the stream midway, though.
All right. Well, before we go into opening up Zoom here, is there any missed stations that are new to the 2-meter crew or are new to ham radio that didn't get a chance to check in earlier? I want to just leave a little bit of room for the new people out there. If there's anybody that hasn't had a chance to check in with our anti-net before, or that is new to ham, feel free to come now with your call sign. Maybe let us know a little bit about who you are and where you're located and what kind of radio you're running.
This is KN6GYX, Eric in Sacramento.
Eric, thanks for jumping in tonight. What part of Sacramento are you from, and what kind of radio are you running?
I'm a proud owner of a 991A, thanks to Jason, pretty much. He big help. I just want to say, I'm in the Arden area, but I want to say this thing's just going to blow out of proportion, man. You guys are going to blow up, and people around the world are going to be saying, hey, who's this Jason guy? And then everybody's going to say, well, just go to Ham Radio TV, and you'll find out.
Well, that sounds like all good things. Our whole dynamic behind even having this anti-net is to draw a crowd of people that are enthusiastic about growing this hobby, and what better way to do it than to just blast it over whatever media avenue we can, right? And honestly, we want to kind of cater to the new people coming in, and it's all about just having fun. You know, it's a hobby. We're all amateurs. We all just want to get out there and learn new things, and we learn from each other, and this is one of the best ways to do it. So, again, thanks for coming in and showing up and saying hi tonight. We'll move on to the next station. Anybody?
N6CMB.
Chris, take it away.
Hey, I'm obviously a pretty young guy, but I just wanted to give a shout out to @DGGamer1321, who has been a regular on our YouTube stream. He's 17 or 18 years old, I think, New Ham. Great to see young guys out there. I'm wondering if we got any other young guys that are watching or might be ready to talk. So @DGGamer1321, man, thanks for being there as a regular. See you next week. And who else is out there like that?
Do I count? And 6 to the end, too.
And 6CMB, you sure do, Brian. Bring it.
Yeah, good evening to all. And DG Gamer, know that there's another one of you out here, and I try to keep things a little bit lively and go for the 991A. I'm going for that ICOM IC 7300. But yeah, keep trying, and me personally, for the test, just study the questions and answers and figure it all out later down the road. Anyway, KN6VNQ, just wanted to say hi.
Thanks for jumping in there. Again, any stations new to ham radio, new to the net, want to jump in and say hi, come now.
KN4UVR.
I got KN4. Can you come again with your suffix?
Kilo November 4 Uniform Victor Landon in Southwest Oklahoma.
Awesome. Thanks for coming in tonight. What mode are you running coming in to our anti-net?
I'm using EchoLink. I'm just using it on my iPhone, but I'm also watching stream on YouTube. And I really appreciate the net, good net. Kind of new to the hobby. Been a ham for about a year now. I just got my tech last year, and going to start studying for my general here pretty soon. Really interested in the digital stuff, so this is right up. Hey, good net, and I'll say 7.3 and KN4UVR.
All right, thanks for jumping in. And yeah, if you have any questions, whether it be just ham radio related or digital modes or whatever that be, you're always welcome to jump on EchoLink and jump on the repeater here. There's a lot of people with a ton of knowledge, and they're happy to answer any questions that you have. So thanks for showing up, and we hope to hear from you again. Your browser there.
I'd like to just give a quick shout out to Molly. Hello, Molly. Whiskey 6 CRP.
Hi, Carlos.
Molly's happy now. She can be a YouTube sensation and jump on and say hi. So there's a lot of people here on Zoom that have kids, and they have them jump into their shack with them and say hi. So it's always a lot of fun to have kids jump in and speak on the radio and keep the enthusiasm going. So for those of you that don't know, this is my daughter. She's 8. Her name's Molly, and she loves talking on the radio.
Miss Molly.
6FAK. Are you listening?
I'm always listening. What's happening?
Are you able to get the Zoom meeting add-on into your live stream notes so that other people can jump in?
Done as you spoke. Is KM6FAK? Yes, if you're on YouTube, or maybe you'd like to go to YouTube, the channel is Ham Radio TV you're looking for. It should show up live for you. Let me get my face up here. I sometimes forget to put my face, so then you don't see me looking around at all the screens. But yeah, there's a link. It works on a phone, a tablet, a computer. There's a link, there's a meeting ID, and the password is very secretive. It's the PL tone of the repeater, 127.3, but don't worry, I'll change it every week. So yes, come on everyone, say hello. I'll get all the boxes up. We'll leave YouTube run for a little bit longer and just have a nice open chat. Ah, someone's already knocking at my door.
B6WIF with a little bit of information.
Anti-net related, and then I will close it out and we'll leave this live feed up and just have a little bit of a conversation. Again, this is Kilo November 6 Delta Alpha Lima, Nick in Everett, Washington. Is there anybody that has any last comments, questions, or anything for the net?
B6WIF with a little bit of information.
W6WYF, go ahead.
Whiskey Bravo 6 Whiskey Yankee Foxtrot. In perusing the internet today, I found in 3 places where they are selling IDs, and I don't know what it is that you have to get into Zoom, but apparently the dark web is selling IDs that have been pilfered from Zoom. So if you put anything into Zoom that gives you money or anything like that, take a close look at what happened. Again, that was 3 spots, one on an amateur radio net, or amateur radio blog, and 2 in just regular blogs on a news service. Just information.
All right, I appreciate that. In fact, I have heard some things related to that. I don't think there's really anything that we're doing here that's going to draw that kind of crowd, but who knows? Yeah, and hopefully Zoom put some kind of protocol up as far as, rendering people trying to do that unable to, because they have a pretty large following and it's grown substantially since all the kids are using it for school now. So hopefully they find a way to secure that if that's the case. But thank you for the info, KN60AL.
Comment?
I just wanted to say that's a really spiffy hat there.
I'm glad you noticed. There's quite a few people here running around with that hat.
Comment?
Go ahead, comment.
Yeah, comment here. This is KK6RQD in Oregon. We had a situation today where an elementary school north of here was hacked on Zoom. They were conducting their school lessons on Zoom, and someone hacked into it and played a pornographic video in front of all the school kids. So just a precaution that Zoom is being hacked by a lot of people, so just use it with caution. That's all I have to say. KK6RQD, clear.
I appreciate that. I could say something really right now, but I won't. But thanks for the comment.
And W6CRP.
Carlos, take it away.
Yeah, just a couple of comments that we've received about Zoom. We did hear a little bit about that before, or as we were kind of breaking it into the 2-meter crew setup here. And we appreciate all the comments. We are pretty cognizant about that, so yeah, don't give out any info on Zoom that you don't want kind of out there all over.
and we are monitoring that closely. So we kind of have our finger on the button and talked about that amongst ourselves. If it went sideways at all, we just shut it down right away. But thank you, and we're trying to pay attention there and keep it clean. It's our family radio here. Thank you, W6CRP.
Yeah, I KM6FAK. I keep a hammer pretty close to me, and I'll just start smashing my computer. Just abort. I do use a password, so I'd like to think. I don't know. You have to. I'd like to think you'd have to have a password, but it's not a Zoom hangout. Ham radio. I did want to show something kind of interesting. So in the recent years, I started ordering from MTC out in Texas. Really nice people. They have the loveliest Texas accent. Growing up in Pennsylvania, now live in California, I do enjoy a nice Southern accent. But anyways, they got 50% off deals. I think I know 3 people just bought this ICOM, $875 after mail-in rebate, and a little tiny bit of information about MTC is they're not that big. They're a small family operation, and with that, they look at you to claim tax. So in other words, they don't charge you tax up front, but you do at the end of the year when you do your taxes. And so anyways, really nice folks. You can also sell them the radio. They have a page where you go over and can I find it on the fly? Anyways, there's a tab or a page where it says, we trade in, we'll take trade in radio. So maybe if you got an 818 and it doesn't have enough power, you can ask them, what will you give me for this, maybe in trade? And I'll buy my next radio. So I thought that was pretty cool. I don't know too many other stores like that, but all right, opening it back up. KM6FAK.
Light checker.
Does
Go ahead,
Pat
check
ever sleep in his own bed? He always seems to be on the tax man's shoulder.
I was on here talking to Chris over there, but Whiskey 6 Quebec India Zero and handles Robert. Just light checking. Nice traffic.
There we go.
Okay, great. Thanks for saying hello, and we got you in there. And yes, everyone, I think we mentioned it, everyone out on the repeater, you can come hang out with us in Zoom. A matter of fact, it was last week, Thursday, I had my local club. So the 2 Meter crew is more of a, I don't know how you would describe us, but a group of guys that really enjoy ham radio. But we're not in a club, even though every week we act more like a club. But anyways, I had my local club meeting here in Vacaville in this same fashion, and with enough donations from everyone, I paid for Zoom. So Zoom is ours for a good year. We can use it as much as we want, and I think you can do a good 100 people in here.
Yeah, so it looks like we've got 46 people watching on the live stream right now. So all of you, go download Zoom and jump in, and we'll see if we can break it.
Right.
How many people are logged into Zoom right now?
13.
I can only see 9.
Change your view.
Sounds like we got a station in there. You're coming in weak. Copy. Try again.
What's your Zoom ID, please?
KM6ACK. Late check.
Have been posted with the link to Zoom to get into the meeting, and it shows the ID and password, but I think I can read it here.
Oh.
ID of 82499243729 with a password of 127.3.
Well, we're going to get hacked now.
Well, Jason, when you're, you might want to just watch the live stream in case you need to shut it down real quick.
Yeah, very good. And another thing, not a big deal if you don't have one, a call sign, but try to put your name and your call sign, because that will give me a heads up as you come into the lobby, I think they call it. And then I can see a call sign. I look up and I go, oh, okay, that looks legit. Or I could check it on QRZ.
Who's the guy with the beard and what looks to be like a piece of pot roast on his chest?
The stream up, and
I'll
jump on over there, and then we can all talk, and whatever Jason wants to put on the air, he can do that. This is KN6DAL. I'll give one last chance for any last comments before we close out the anti-net.
N6CMB, I think I caught a check-in from KK6USY.
Yeah, that's correct. First time here, just found you guys. I'm in the city of Panolfo, not too far from Jason, over.
All right, KK6USY, what was your name?
The name here is Chuck, and I'm glad I found you guys, because I do okay on HF, but I struggle on this stuff.
Hey Chuck, that's awesome. Thanks for joining in. What kind of radio are you running in?
Right now I'm on FT-70. I have multiple radios. I do have a 991A, but
yeah,
it's off right now, unfortunately.
Hey.
Did he say it's broke?
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for checking in, and we appreciate having you. Tell all your friends. Let them know where to find us at. It's 7 o'clock every Wednesday night.
Yeah, I will. Thank you. 6USY.
Hey, I have a question if you guys can answer on the Zoom here.
All right. Any last calls for...
Yeah, go ahead for the Zoom question.
Thank you so much, Matt, here at KI7UEF in Oregon. How are you displaying the QRZ profile pictures? Were you just looking them up manually?
Hold on. Where's my button? Okay, so you're saying QRZ? Oh, they're in the backdrop, you're saying, right? Yeah, so I will share that link. So Control-C. So this is a very interesting webpage built by Brandon, a ham in Hawaii, as well as a local ham here, Mike. And so the link is in the chat of YouTube. And what this website does, we got a lot going on, don't we? So what this website does, if you're watching the YouTube right now, it shows me, or anyone, it's an open website, all the information that's coming in through our AllStar, which is also tied to EchoLink. And so if you have a QRZ picture, it pulls from that. Now, sometimes it will take, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes or so. This page by itself refreshes every 20 or so seconds. But then it pulls your picture, as you can see, and that's kind of what I show. It also has a map that is everyone that's ever connected. If you scroll down, it has like a spider map. This is everyone currently connected and how they get connected to each other. And because we're using two nodes, this is the Whiskey 6 VVR node. And then this here is the WG5EEK node.
Rick used right there with the fridge. Yeah, you're going to get all sorts of neat stuff as a background. Yeah, so I want to read you something funny.
I should be able to...
Mom, I'd like to be awake now. Riff raff, it's 4 a.m. Go back to sleep. Mom, don't make me jump on you again.
I'm looking for the mute button.
But I'm hungry. No, you had a snack before bed, and when you woke me at 2 to pee, you had another one. I want my
hot mic.
Wait.
Where's that coming from?
Mom, yes, puppet. My hair says you got me there. Look at his eyes. Yeah. Look at his hair. Isn't that the cutest thing ever? Pretty funny.
Hey, just so you know, we got an open mic on Zoom, so we can hear anything that's going on in the background. I'm currently looking for a button, but I can't find it.
Oh, it's not mine.
Well, no worries. We are slightly. So yeah, did that answer your question, Matt? I think you had that question here. You are
Jason.
unmuted. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Jason, no audio on the repeater.
Right.
That's super cool. Super cool that someone built that. Thank you again.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Very good. Yeah. There was traffic on the repeater, so I can kill that. So I wasn't going across the repeater, kind of on purpose. I think what we'll do as more people. Oh, sorry. There's more people knocking on the door. As more people join us, I don't think I'm going to key Zoom over the repeater, open the repeater up for kind of normal traffic. But that said, if anyone wants to use the repeater to come in, say hello, we'll kind of keep an ear to it. How does that sound to you, Nick? That was kind of a decision on the fly, but looking for feedback.
Well, I think that's an excellent decision. There's quite a few people jumping in on this meeting, so what I'll do is I'll say 73 to the anti-net, and we'll close the repeater out to normal traffic if anybody wants to talk amongst themselves afterwards. And we'll be playing a little bit of Zoom Hangout and live feeding that for a little bit. So if anybody has any questions, concerns, I'm sure there will be some people listening via the repeater. And with that, I will say 7-3s. Thanks, everybody who jumped in, and a special thanks to Chris, 2E0UKH, for taking the time to talk with us tonight. We really appreciate it. And you guys have yourself a good Wednesday night.
Excellent net, W6QIZ.
Thank you, Nick and Chris and Jason. You guys did a phenomenal job, W6CRP.
Would there be another repeater that we can go to? I didn't catch that at all, hardly.
All right. So we have Ishmael has a question in Zoom. Oh, I know where it is. Haha, I found it. Gosh, there's buttons everywhere. Okay, Ishmael, I see your hand is up. I'm going to unmute you. Please ask your question. Go ahead.
Good night, everyone. What do you all think about the IC 2036?
So you're a little, it was a little hard to hear you, but you were asking a question about a radio again. Could you repeat that? Or there's also a chat. You could put the model number in the chat. Your audio is just a little low. Go ahead.
Okay.
Hey, there's Brandon, WH6GHD. He is the brains behind this website. Matt earlier was asking me about, and I really don't do it justice, Brandon. So why don't you touch on how long does it take to refresh the page, and how long will it take to grab the QRZ photos if you just put one in right now?
So the page refreshes every 30 seconds on its own, and as soon as someone connects to Mike's node, it triggers a Python script that goes out and downloads the picture. So every time someone connects, it should download the picture and stores it locally. And then it should be pretty much on the next refresh, it should be there, unless that script didn't fire correctly. But that's how it's working.
Very, very cool. All right, so just with a little bit of feedback I had with all these participants, which is great. We're at 17. I muted everybody for the most part. So feel free, reach over, and you can unmute yourself if you want to ask a question or ask anybody, Brandon, a question. And it's definitely a free-for-all. I'm not the net controller. We're just here hanging out.
Yeah, I'd like to know if that Python script is up on GitHub or anywhere that he knows that he might be able to link us to. I love Python. I write a bunch of Python scripts on the AllStar here.
What's going on, guys?
Yeah, to answer that question, it was initially a GitHub Telegram bot Python script for Conbot for AllStar, if that makes sense. So when AllStar has a built-in setting that it will fire any kind of program that you give it on connection or disconnect. And so there's a Telegram bot out there on GitHub that basically you have to set up a Telegram and all that stuff and create a bot. And what it does is it will, so me and Mike are in this Telegram room, and every single time someone connects to his node, I get a text, and it says, so-and-so call sign has connected. I modified that script to make it do all kinds of stuff. So that's where, because it's already a Python script, I just set it to, okay, go out to this URL, well, grab the call sign, go out to QRZ, download the picture, it does some things, and then saves it locally. So the whole script isn't out there, but if you look me up on QRZ, my email's good. You can email me, and I will definitely send you anything or field any questions.
Yeah, I sent the information.
Yeah, I see it. Okay, so J72IMS, I think that's quite a cool call sign. Where are you located at with that call sign?
I'm from Dominica.
Okay, very cool. So if you're on YouTube watching, I guess I could also share my screen since everyone is in here. Yeah, that seems to be working. Okay, so the question was about an ICOM 2350. Does anyone have any experience? I don't have any experience with this radio, but he's looking for some input. It says getting from America. It does VHF, UHF based rig. It can crossband. And what exactly was your question? I think your audio was way better that time, Ishmael.
Okay. So I was asking, since the radio has crossband repeat, can I use the one radio to make a crossband repeater system with a dual band flower pot antenna?
Yeah, absolutely. If that works, let me stop and ask, does anyone have this radio? You have to unmute yourself, by the way. No? Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, Jason. Yeah, I've got a similar model. It's a 2300H that I bought through Mitch a few months back at Lincoln Campus. It looks like the same thing, except mine's just model band where he's looking for the dual band. I'd be interested to see what the price would be on that dual band model, that icon.
Okay, great. Yeah, so I mean, I don't have that radio. I have a Yaesu FT-991A I use every day in my sports car, the Prius.
Not a Tesla?
And anyways, so I run one antenna. It's a dual band antenna, 2 meter, 70 centimeter. And you go through the menu. I set up on one side of the radio, because it's a dual VFO, a 2 meter, and then on the other side, I set up a 70 centimeter because, when you say crossband repeat, it has to be crossband. So you can't do a repeat 2 meter and 2 meter. It always has to be a 2 meter or 70 centimeter. You can also crossband this radio on 6 meters FM and 10 meters FM that you can also do. That gets a little trickier. You just need a duplexer to run that second antenna, because I don't know if you're going to find a 2 meter dual band antenna with 6 meters. But anyways, just simply talking 2 meter, 70 centimeter. You just set it up, and you can have that then connect to a repeater you're trying to hit. And then maybe you're on an HT and you're just operating simplex to your car. And then your car is operating a full duplex, being that's the repeater. Let's say you have some saved channels. So that is the overall idea of the crossband repeat feature. But unfortunately, I can't speak exactly to the details of this radio? Because I just don't own it.
Oh, okay. Next question. Well, other question, but I made a dual band robot. So like I cut.
We're having a hard time hearing your audio. Is a little low.
In the center, and I.
Can you put your question in the chat?
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, sorry about that. Your audio is really choppy, like a digital breakup. I'm guessing the internet is just not being our friend.
That would be it.
All right, what do you guys think? Who in this hangout on Zoom? Can we call it a hangout? That was a Google thing, but they're kind of Google Plus is kind of over with. Does anybody else crossband repeat often? I'm just curious.
I do a fair bit. I have a small node radio on my ham VoIP, and I bought one of the things from George. If you guys know George out there, he's always referred to from ham VoIP, but tiny little like quarter wave UHF mag mount, doesn't go very far. So I have another FTM 400 here. But I get reports of other stations telling me that my audio is way too hot. So I've tried it several times, but I don't use it regularly.
Okay, very cool. Yeah, I sometimes will do that. I grab that radio out of my car and throw it in the RV when my family and I go out. And that's kind of fun to be able to hit the RV with a proper radio, 50 watts, and then I'm just on my HT.
Yeah, Jason, I've done some tests with the crossband repeat. Over here, it's not legal to do it under certain licensing conditions, but I have tested it with the dummy load, and I have gone in. You'll like this one. I have gone in on FM on the Anytone 578 and come out on DMR. So I spoke to people on 21 on a Baofang.
I got you. Don't worry. Baofang. We still got you there, Chris.
Yeah, I was just obviously letting you speak there. Yeah, so you can go in on one mode, or you can, if there's a repeater you're struggling to open, but I could pick this important repeater up from my dad's house. You could set it up there and go in on handheld somewhere, from another location. It's fantastic.
Awesome. Yeah, heck yeah.
Yeah, I've used crossband repeat quite a few times when I was in California. I was far enough away from the Mount Diablo repeater that I couldn't reach it with an HT, and so to give me the flexibility of using an HT, I have a crossband capable radio in my truck that I would just relay to my truck, and then it would then transmit to the repeater, no problem. I don't know to speak to that IC 2350. I guess maybe I'm having a hard time understanding the exact question of what he's asking as far as like maybe what kind of antenna should he use. But to my understanding, a crossband repeat radio, he can use just any 2-meter 440 radio. He's going to transmit out on 440 and receive on 2 meters or vice versa. I don't think that there's any of them that are capable of crossbanding within the same band, which that's kind of what crossbanding is, going from one band to the other. So maybe that helps.
Very cool. What does that noise mean? That means people are leaving? I see people waving.
I wonder if you could take a crossband radio and then another crossband radio to get it back to the other band, but on a different frequency.
Maybe.
Whoa. Like an infinity loop?
We're kind of getting we're getting into Inception here, but
I mean, it sounds like it's possible. I don't know to what degree you have to you have to be, I guess, technically within control of the crossband radio. So I would use it like in my house, and my truck would be, just outside or whatever. But I suppose if you wanted to, just try it, it doesn't. I think it would work. It doesn't sound like a plan that wouldn't work.
yeah, like proof of concept. I mean, you could like really depower it, go real low power, and put them somewhere near, and then go, I guess, higher power on the other one on the output. Kind of building a double repeater or crossing over and then back.
Yeah, I don't know how it would work with repeaters, because at some point you lose the ability maybe to key the repeater up with a PL tone. I don't know, but I would think simplex it would you would be able to chain that as long and far as you want.
Anyway, 7-3 guys, it's just 4:30 in the morning here, so thanks for having me on, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it.
Chris, thank you so much for coming.
Absolutely, Chris. Great to have you in here tonight.
Yeah, it went very well. Yeah, thanks a lot. 7-3.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Jason, maybe I misunderstood what you said earlier, but you provided the link for this W5G5EEK website. You said, I thought I heard you say really it was for any node. That link was, displaying all the people connected here to this node. Is there another URL in which you can configure the node number, or did I just misunderstand you?
Let me kick that over to Brandon.
Well, the website, the URL is anynode.io, and then it's / with his. I'd have to go look at it, but that's how AllStar kind of links it into your IP, so it hides your IP from the world. So you would just have to set up your page to, it's basically like if you're going to go to the AllStar and be able to configure the settings remotely or reboot it or anything like that, that's residing on a web server on that IP. So all you have to do is add things to the CGI bin directory or whatever. It's kind of reverse engineering and hacking it, but it's really easy. So that particular one is for Geeks node.
You see, this is why I know that digital radio isn't all that hard, because I had no idea what you guys are just talking about, but I still was able to make a digital simplex contact this week.
And how did you do that, Chris?
There's hope for me after all, huh, Chris?
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, it's actually pretty easy. Yeah, no, it's I mean, obviously, whatever radio you've got, and I know that only ICOM and maybe Kenwood do D-Star, and Yaesu does what C4 FM or whatever it is. It's radio to radio, but once you get on there, it's not that bad to figure out the choices for the D-Star. Just like you're changing from like FM mode to FM narrow or to USB, you basically hit one button, get into digital mode, and then you're off and talking, on the frequency and simplex. So it's probably the easiest way to get up and going on digital, because you don't need to worry about these reflectors and gateways and hotspots and any of that stuff. Just find someone, get on one of those recommended call-in frequencies and give it a go.
So I saw that Ishmael put some comments in chat. Is anybody able to answer those? I am not.
Hey guys, I'm going to take off for bed. You have a great night, everybody. 7-3, great job, Jason. Nick, take care.
Thank you, Michael. Have a good night.
Good night, Michael.
Good night, Michael. Good to see you, man.
All right, 7-3's off.
Yeah, I see that, Brandon. Thanks for pointing that out. Yeah, so he made a dual band flower pot. That sounds pretty cool. Antenna using coax and PVC pipe for my mass, and I cut 20 inches in the coax or VHF side. I removed the braid, and then I gave the coax 9 turns for the UHF side. Will that antenna work? Whoa, that's pretty interesting. I've not experimented with using coax. I know it can be done. There's a lot of different websites out there talking about bazookas and what have you. I mean, there is, I think one of the easiest thing to start with building is either a J-pole, a monoband J-pole, or a monoband quarter wave. So that's the thing that looks like Sputnik. You know, you're going to have one vertical where you feed your center conductor, and then you're going to have typically 3 to 4 radials coming down. And you can build that just from, you know, the average 259 connector. So I just can't speak to a coax dual band dipole antenna. That's what he's asking. Is it vertically polarized? I mean, I definitely get it. When you're using coax, you have 2 conductors. You have the braided shield and you have the center conductor. Ooh, thank you for sharing that. And yes. Okay. So he's showing it. So someone has built it and they gave some measurements. That seems very cool. So essentially it's hidden inside of there and wrapped around there. Look at that. Well, that's way cool, especially if you want to stay incognito. But unfortunately, my antenna guru is not here tonight. But you know, that's the best part of about the internet is you're able to find stuff like this, try it. Oh, my watch. And the next step then is an analyzer. It's trapped behind there. You know, a simple MFJ antenna analyzer, maybe around $200 new, under $100 used. And with the antenna analyzer, after building all these experiments, which I think is a great part of the hobby, then you can just hook it up and you can test. You can look at what that SWR is. You can look at what your impedance is, because after all, you know, all radios want to see good SWR and that 50 ohms. Newer radios is what I was thinking about. Newer radios will kind of save your bacon and just limit themselves, just cut the RF to where if it sees a high SWR. So yeah, I just can't answer that, Ishmael. I do apologize, but we're just a 2-meter crew.
You never know who you're going to get, who's online. Either one of our Elmers or just those young guys.
Yeah, that's it. Hey,
young and ham life, I should say.
Let me open up the Brady Bunch boxes to anybody just joining us or wants to say hello. I see we got a Roy and a Landon, and Bill's been with us for a while. And Ed's up there in Oregon. I see him there. And Mike, he's jumping in his shack. Looks like maybe a garage or so. And we got Dan. You found us there. Very good, guys. Awesome. Yeah, excuse this camera here. This is my Zoom camera. And then this is my other camera. Dave, who didn't even come tonight, said, "Hey, man, can I get that webcam back?" he was letting me borrow a webcam because I had asked him 2-3 months ago if I could borrow a webcam because I was just trying to save $60 or so, you know. It's just a hobby. We're all amateurs. And he's like, "Yeah, sure, I'm not using this." Well, here we are with you know what broke out. And he's like, "Hey, I can't find a webcam anywhere to buy." I'm like, "Yeah, me neither." He's like, "Can I get that back?" So here we are. So anyways, I thought it was funny. And I see, okay, Jason, should I purchase the 991A? What is the best radio? All right, so
one you have.
Yeah, so you know, for people that
you're asking that from the leader of the 991A fan club.
Oh man, so if you're watching YouTube,
we got some 9700 underground here, 7300.
There you go.
Yeah, so if you're watching the YouTube, that's typically what I'm showing is the 991 display, and that is also with another web camera. So yeah, I have 3 web cameras, one really old. The best one is pointing to the 991A. But anyways, I figured out how to tell people or recommend. So is that your little Natalie there, Nick? Oh no, you're muted. That's not coming from you.
No, it was me. She saw the microphone. She goes, microphone. say hi real quick, Allie. Say hi to everybody.
Hello.
Hi, Allie.
Jason, what are you running all those sources through OBS?
I am. Yeah, everything is OBS. But let me just finish, because there is it's almost like you ask a guy, "Hey, should I buy a Ford, Chevy, or Dodge, truck?" They're all going to do
Ford.
They're all going to do what you want to do, but there's going to be certain things you really like about that. Maybe even your dad had a Ford and now you drive a Ford. So I feel like radios are very similar. Cameras, I mean, you could go on. But I will say, if you need a radio that does it all and is fairly portable, I have like a little Pelican box. I love to throw it in. I take it in the RV. I don't really go backpacking with it, but driving somewhere and breaking it out, it's an awesome radio because you can do whatever you want with it. But for HF, very nice, very capable, but you could definitely argue that 7300 has a beautiful waterfall display. It's also a full SDR radio, where this is still using the triple heterodyne receiver, a true radio circuit, if you will. So it just depends. If you have $1,200 and you're looking for one radio that will really get you going for many years, I think that radio is fantastic. Now, if you have a little extra coin, I would buy the 9700 and the 7300. So the two ICOMs. The two ICOMs, the HF 7300 and the VHF UHF 9700. Both radios are a little over $1,000. 7300 is on sale. So now all of a sudden you're looking well into $2,000+. So very expensive, but you might have a superior result with those two radios. So, it just, again, it depends. I'm very happy with my 991. I think it works fantastic.
Hey, thanks, Jason. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you're coming in good.
Okay, great. Yeah, I appreciate the info there. I've been really toying back and forth with the idea between the 991A, just because it is such a versatile radio. It's shack in a box, like they say.
Yeah.
Have you noticed any kind of, and of course everybody in my club, they all run 7300s, and I've watched all the videos, and no one can dispute that they are an amazing radio. But I'm looking to stay within a certain budget. And with that being said, it seems like I keep coming back to the 991, and because with the 7300, it's just an HF rig,
right?
And I really want to do some digital stuff. I want to do some 2-meter sideband stuff, things like that. And then I want to get into HF and play with that also. And if I wanted to do all that, I have to buy 2 radios. So,
yeah.
Anyways, give me your thoughts on that.
Are you you seem to be about my age? Do you have a wife and kids?
Yep, sure do.
Yeah, so I think we could, like, the 991A, continue to keep your wife and kids happy, right? Because that's where I'm at. I got 2 little girls and a wife.
Yep, that's exactly right.
So when you say, yeah, I want to buy this radio, but in a few months I'm going to buy this radio too, it'll be like, what?
Landon, I'll jump in here and say that eventually you will want, if you don't already have some kind of 2-meter 70-centimeter rig, it doesn't matter what the cost is. It could be something really inexpensive. You will eventually want 2 separate radios, because you'll find that as you get into working HF, I don't know if you are or not now, but when you work HF, you're going to want to use either your 70-centimeter or your 2-meter repeaters as kind of a hub to communicate with people as you're moving around the bands and stuff. So eventually you're going to find a need to have 2 separate ways of communicating. I found that to be the case, but that's also coming from, I love the 991A. I don't own it yet, but I'm really excited to get one, and that will be the radio that I get. It does have its disadvantages. Every radio does. There's nothing that you can buy out there that's perfect. But if you're looking for something that's a good quality manufactured rig that's going to last you a really long time, that's going to do all of those little things that you want to do, you can always go and get for under $100, you can buy a 25-watt mobile radio that you can hook up to a power supply and be talking on repeaters, So I think the 991 wins over the 7300 for some of those things you said.
Hey, Landon. I just went through the same process you're going, looking at the same radios, literally buying like within the last month with the time, and I went a different direction than these guys. So it just shows that everybody like definitely has to make up their mind. One thing, if you're already into any digital stuff and like, hey, I've got some nets or I've got some friends that are on a certain digital mode, go with the radio that's got that, because that kind of makes it easy to pick a direction, right? If you're not sure, then all of the digital modes are pretty good, so you won't get hurt probably by that. For me, having the separate boxes, splitting the radios, that's the way I wanted to go. I knew I wanted to have, the 9700 with the UHF, VHF. There's some stuff that radio can do that like a mobile, isn't going to be able to do on those frequencies, which is really cool, but not everybody needs it. It's definitely a high-end rig for UHF and VHF. And then, you put the 7300 next to it and you've got a pretty powerful little setup. I mean, there's some HF rigs that are steps beyond the 7300, but it's pretty capable. So if I totally agree. You just got to think about where you're going to operate, what's important to you. And if you like that all in one, that 911A was, definitely had my name on it for a while, 991A. But I ended up deciding that, my rig, I want to set up my shack a little bit different. And I went with the separate boxes. So that's from someone who just went through it. It's not an easy decision. So good luck.
The poor guy is going nowhere now.
No, actually, that's all real good information, Chris and Nick and Jason. Because you guys have had the same battles I've had, and I appreciate that. And I have a current 2 meter, 70 centimeter. I've got a J-pole outside. Got my VX6R sitting right here on the table, and I kind of jumped into Yaesu initially, and that's why another reason I was thinking about going with the 991. And so I understand the need to have those separate radios. Does a lot of people out there still do 2 meter sideband? I know we've got a few folks here in the club that do. Thoughts?
Yeah. Actually, that has been a growing popularity lately with us, is who can get on sideband 2 meters. And, people with this radio, people with the 9700, of course, the ICOM 7100 has been out for a while, a great radio. But let me tell you, I was thinking about 3 things. So one, recently Joshua in the 2 meter crew had a failure of his brand new 991A. Or he's not sure what he did. He's messing with amplifiers. He's a bit of a tinkerer, but we don't really know if it's his fault or not. It was sent in for a warranty. So, that was news to me. That was the first failure that I heard of. I did hear the non-A model had auto, because it has an auto tuner, an antenna tuner that auto tunes. I heard that had problems with the non-alpha model, and they since fixed it. I use my tuner quite a bit. I go out, like I said, camping with a buddy pole. The buddy pole gets it close. I get it all the way 1-to-1 just about with the internal tuner. So that's a great thing. If you can get a radio, that's one thing the ICOM 7100 doesn't have, is it doesn't have a built-in tuner. So that's kind of a bummer when you want to go out and operate. And then another thing, this is a rumor because I don't know this for sure, but I've heard some guys talk about the way this Yaesu is made. It's very traditional. Like I said, the super heterodyne, or there could be more words involved. But with that, in the event the bands get lit up, okay? Now, again, this is what I heard. I have not read this anywhere, and I don't have experience with this because I'm only licensed since 2016. But in the event the bands are so hot and so hopping, you will have trouble with a 7300 because that SDR style will drink every signal in, and you won't be able to select what you want. The selectivity is poor. Now, right now, you could say that 7300 receives amazingly because of what it's doing there. But when it really gets busy, from what I understand, again, the Yaesu can really hone in on that signal and kind of, put those other signals to the side. So I kind of thought that was interesting. I do a little contesting, and I'm seeing a yep in the chat by Chuck. So kind of interesting.
Hey, thanks guys. Appreciate that.
Hey, out of curiosity, Landon, what how long have you had your license, and what are your plans, or at least what do you think your plans are with HF?
So I've had my license for almost a year. And then, so right now I want to do some 6-meter stuff because I know that's opening up soon. In fact, I think this weekend, or I'm sorry, past couple of days, we've had a few openings with 6-meter and 10-meter. So I want to get me a 6-meter antenna put up and start working some of that stuff. And then also really we have a fusion repeater here. So I want to get on and do some fusion stuff.
Perfect.
In fact, whenever I saw this tonight, I'm like, oh, this is right up my alley.
Awesome. Yeah. So one of the things that is really nice about making a big purchase like that is ham radio gear. It tends to hold its value pretty well. It doesn't really depreciate massively. And so you can typically, you know, say a couple years down the road, you decide you want to try something different and maybe recoup a little bit of that money. I see used Yaesu 991A selling on, you know, some of these online sources, not necessarily eBay, because a lot of that is blown out of proportion price wise, but, you know, on like QRZ and stuff, I see them selling for $800-900, you know, and that's, I mean, realistically, that's only a couple $100 under what they go for new. So you can feel pretty confident that even if you decide later on you want to go a different route, you can always buy something different and recoup a majority of that money. I mean, there's 20-30-year-old rigs. Some of these people that have been around for a long time can attest to it. They're still selling them for $500, $600, $700. And so it's an investment at first, but you can typically recoup your money if you take care of your stuff.
Yeah, that's I hadn't thought about it from that angle, but that is a good way to think about it. In fact, I looked at some of the used stuff and thought, wow, this is really expensive. Why am I going to pay this much whenever I can just go buy a brand new one? So yeah, that's good info.
Hey guys, I want to check out. Nice talking to everybody, and great net tonight. We'll see you guys all later.
All right. Have a good night, Carlos.
Night, Carlos. 7-3.
Night.
Am I coming through?
I hear you, Ed.
Can people hear?
Hey, Ed.
Can you hear me and see me?
Mike.
Yep.
Oh, this is cool. Yeah, I'm gonna take this laptop and kind of spin it around, okay? You mentioned every radio that I have. I have the 7100, the 7610, the 7300, Raspberry Pis, Fusion, AllStar, IRLP, and others, just to name a few. The camera's on the laptop, so I can't kind of take the camera around and show everybody, but I have the Italian SPE amplifier. It's a 2,000 watt amplifier that I can switch between the 7300 and the 7610 just by pushing the push to talk button, and it can handle up to 6 different antennas. I have a TMV 71, which is used in an AllStar configuration for radio transmission locally. It's not a radioless node. I have those in the car. Some FT-8900s, and all Yaesu mobiles in my trucks and cars. And so I just wanted to show you that because you guys are mentioning a lot of the radios that I've used over the years. And my first radio was the IC 7100. I still use it to this day, and it's hooked up to AllStar right now. So I just wanted to get that in, let you guys see that.
Ed, I'm not going to lie, but it reminds me of when you drive down the road and you see a really nice Corvette, and then you see someone inside. It looks like you, buddy.
Well, you know, that's the way it's been. You know me, Jason.
Nah, you know what? You gotta work hard. You gotta play hard. I mean, you deserve everything you own, and that is fantastic. You know, hopefully one day my shack has more than just screens. Although my camera's froze. I don't know what's going on. Everyone, I'm having some technical difficulties.
That's just the inside, not the outside. There's towers and antennas, and I just bought an antenna launcher yesterday, so that I have about 4 acres worth of trees, So I'm going to start shooting tennis balls up into the trees so I can hang some more wire antennas so I can improve my HF capability when I talk to you guys down there in Vacaville.
Hey, Ted, did you finally get rid of pot roast? Oh, he just dropped off. Oh, you're there.
Yeah, my wife finally took him to bed, so he's.
I think he sleeps more with you out at your radio than he does in his own room sometimes.
Yeah, I know. I know. I kind of wanted to do some of that D-Star simplex at some point. I missed out yesterday.
We have D-Star here too. We also have a DVAP repeater here at the house. And we also have an IRLP nano node, if anybody who knows what a nano node is. We have that also. We have 4 networks here. One is satellite. The other 3 are wired networks. So they all take a share of the bandwidth load from all these digital radios, including all the computers that we have.
Hey, does anybody have any experience with the diamond vertical antenna, the CHA 250B?
Well, I have 7 diamond antennas. They're X200, F22, X50, and X300.
Sorry, it's the Comet. Yeah, my bad. It was the Comet CHA 250B. Anybody got any experience with that? Or vertical antennas in general for HF? Thought.
Comet tester. No Comet antennas.
Yeah, I've been looking at a lot of vertical antennas, Landon, but I haven't decided to go with anyone. Everybody, at least right now, the sort of Elmers are pointing me towards running some wires first, getting up and running on HF first with a wire, and then thinking about maybe going vertical. So I've been listening to my elders, and that's the direction I'm heading to start with. But I've seen that antenna you're talking about. I wish I had more info on it.
Wires are good for HF, and the verticals are good for VHF and UHF.
Yeah, I have a small backyard here at the QTH, and so trying to figure out a solution for HF stuff.
A lot of people choose verticals. Don, who's a member of the club, he's got a big vertical for HF. He switches off between the wire and the HF when we talk to each other up here in Oregon, and sometimes the verticals do better. It's worth a try.
Hey, just had a chat comment on the YouTube. There's still a few guys hanging out in there, and maybe Nick, I might add this to next week's agenda. It sounds like maybe we could set a time and date for like they want to try some 2-meter USB or single sideband work. So maybe we can add it to the agenda just to pick a date and a time for the Bay Area anyway to jump on 2 meters and do some single sideband work.
Yeah, we can put that together. The website has a lot of good resources for that. We can schedule and coordinate events and add them to a calendar where everybody can share them. And that's something that Rod put together. So we'll talk more about that and see if we can put something together. Real quick, hey Ed, if you can hear me okay, did you say that you had a 7300 and a 991A in your shack right now?
No, I have a 7300, 7610, and a 7100.
Okay.
So I have the 7610 and the 7300 in the SPE amplifier. So when I want to switch antennas, I just push the talk button, and the amplifier switches over to that radio. So I can monitor different frequencies and switch antennas just by clicking.
Got it. I was just curious for Landon's sake if you had maybe a direct comparison on those two radios for him, because I know a lot of people that love the Yaesus that own only that, and then a lot of people that love the ICOM that own only that, and it's like, man, if we could find somebody that had both that could just say, yeah, I like this one better, you know.
Well, that was the thing. I have the 7300, the 7600, and the 7610. I just switch them into different rooms in the house. I have a pretty complex switching system of switches, but I started with the 7600 after I got the 71, and the 991A wasn't out then. That came later. So my investment's been in the 7100 and the 7600, and I've been able to do everything I wanted, and then I just upgraded to the 73 and 7610.
Awesome.
It's an ICOM thing.
Hey, I missed the beginning of the YouTube video, but will there be any kind of, is this going to be a weekly kind of net thing? Will there be, are you guys able to send out emails and that kind of stuff? You know, what's the status on all that?
Yeah, we're here every week.
Yep.
It's an anti-net, and it's sort of evolved digitally with the help of a lot of different people, including Jason here. We're on the repeater. I don't know where your location is, Landon. Where are you from?
Southwest Oklahoma.
Okay. Yeah. So a digital mode would be your avenue to get on either through AllStar, DMR, or EchoLink. And then Jason's live streaming it, and it's operating off of a repeater as well. So tons of different ways to get in, but we hold it our time, Pacific Standard Time, every Wednesday at 7.
Yeah, and for the most part, I try to live stream it, and then the live streams will just, save and archive like they do on YouTube, so you can always kind of go back and jump around. The only time I won't be live streaming is if I have something like work or family related, but so far I think we're 17, 18 weeks into it. I don't know. I built a playlist, and I threw in a bunch of old ones, which we were really just trying to figure out. But yeah, we're just kind of here to hang out and talk about ham radio.
Jason, did you break YouTube? It looks like we're all frozen over there now.
Oh, no way.
My screen. Sounds like I don't know if any audio is coming out either because I'm listening on the Zoom.
Okay, so I have a healthy stream, according to YouTube.
Maybe it's me.
According to YouTube, and I haven't dropped any frames.
I got a healthy stream.
Yes, all doctors prescribe.
I was the unhealthy one.
Lots of water, lots of coffee. Yeah, just probably refresh maybe if we're looking like crap, but I think we're holding up. As long as my family aren't in there, killing on Netflix and having all that. Hey, has anyone else?
Oh,
there is a button I can push. I just lose it. So my kids recently started really chatting to their friends. They're 6 and 9, but this whole quarantine isolation thing, they're really starting to use the heck out of all the different platforms. I think the biggest is the Apple Zoom for School, and then the Facebook. I was kind of hesitant on that, but all the kids are doing this Facebook chat through parent stuff. Anyways, so as long as everyone's not in my house doing that, which I don't know, I'm out in the garage, by the way. I'm in my shack.
Hey, I just want to do a welfare check on Roy there. You doing okay, buddy? Oh, you almost got the mic. There we go. How's it going?
Gotta get closer to the mic on the yeah, I'm using the internet. But no, I'm just listening. I haven't got my tech license or general yet because this virus came up, and I was trying to get onto areas where I can find to get the test. But I have what they call an underlying disease that keeps me out of the realm of getting together with everybody. And I'm listening to all the different kinds of radios and the different hookups, and I was sitting here looking at it, and I'm going, well, the Yaesu 991 has the 2 outlets, and I'm going, well, I've got a switch in there. It's a manual switch that I used on my CB stuff. but I figured I could use that to come in from both sides of the 991A. Flip from one. They just use one antenna. My wish list on Gigaparts is a MF 2389 vertical. It's supposed to be an 8-band antenna, and I was figuring that's what I'd use to set up here to hook up to my chimney with my steel roof. But I haven't heard anybody that mentioned anything about that antenna, but I hear the arguments between the 7300 and the 991, and I think I get more confused to listen to everybody's, because you got people that are into ICOM and you got people that are into Yaesu. So I guess I'm getting more confused than I am getting help.
Yeah, well, it definitely is. There's a lot of different choices out there. Thanks for joining in with us, and good luck on taking that test when you get the chance to do it. I'm glad you found your way on here. Just a heads up on that Yaesu. The reason there's 2 antenna outputs is one is designed specifically for HF frequency bands, and then the other one is for VHF and UHF. So I don't know if there is an antenna that is designed to handle all of those bands, but if it is, it's got to be compromised pretty bad somewhere. I just don't see an antenna that's capable of handling that entire bandwidth, and maybe someone with some more experience could speak to that. But anyway, I'm glad you jumped on, Roy. I'm really happy that you made it out here, and I wish you the best as far as getting your ticket.
Yeah, well, it's from MFI, where the antenna's from, but I see the same thing happening if I get a 97 and a 73. There's the differences in there between those 2 radios too.
Well, I have a comment.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is one thing you can do. If you look behind me, I have a Yaesu FT-857D. That is a all-mode radio. And so what you can do, it's got 2 antenna ports on the back. You can put a duplexer on it, which is 2 cables feeding into one, basically. It's a duplexer and it feeds into one antenna. You can get a ATAS 120 antenna, and that antenna works with the FT-857D. It's all band, so it's VHF, UHF, HF, 50 meter, or 50 hertz rather. You just push a button and that antenna goes up and down like a corkscrew, and it tunes to the band that you're on, especially with HF. So you buy the FT-857D and the ATAS 120 antenna, and that combination is the only one that I know of, provided that you use a duplexer, which takes those 2 ports into one antenna, and you can get away with all the bands on one antenna.
All right. Which antenna was that again?
It's called an ATAS, ATAS 120. I actually have one. I haven't used it yet, but I have.
Run that by me again, slower.
It's Alpha Tango Alpha Sierra 120.
Okay. Alpha Tango Alpha Sierra 120.
Right.
Okay.
And you would need a duplexer with it, which basically takes those 2 ports on the 857D into one.
Oh, okay.
Duplexing.
Who manufactures that antenna, or just look it up on the net?
I just look it up. I can't remember who makes it. Yaesu makes the radio. If you look at that brown box where my finger is right there, That's the 857D. Still in the box. It's programmed. I just haven't. I bought it for my RV, but I haven't installed it yet.
Well, I'm looking for that Icon 705 to put in my RV.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I got a couple of comments from YouTube.
Yeah.
One goes back to Landon talking about the verticals. Chuck KK6USY, he puts in a good word for the DX Commander. I've seen that that vertical as well. That might be one you might want to check out. Digital Analog Ham said that oh no, actually it was Chuck as well that said that he thinks that the FT-857D is discontinued. So you might have to find that one on the used market for that radio.
I have one.
I was looking on the internet at the Chameleon antenna system to put with my motorhome, but somebody had where they had powered a plate next to their ladder on top of their motorhome so they could raise it and lower it, which looked kind of interesting too.
Yes, I've seen many mobile motorhome antennas that come off the ladder. They have a tuner built into them right at the roof of the motorhome, and they bend the antenna over when they're driving. And then when they park in the RV park, they let it up, and it goes way up, and it's a HF antenna. I met several people who do that. If there's trees nearby, they'll take it off the back of the RV and hook it up into the trees. But if there are no trees, they just hook it up to the front of the bus or the RV, and they'll run it that way. And they have the tuner outside so that it does all the tuning from there, like ICOM tuners that fit on the antenna itself, not a separate box.
Yeah. Well, I got a time to sit here and study and get my. I'm doing 95% on the for mastering the tech, and I'm going to start looking at the general now. So by the time I get through the general and the tech, I'll probably be able to almost get the extra. But this virus keeps going. I'll probably next year before I'll be able to get into a class.
Yeah, an extra before you do it.
The problem with the extra is that the ARRL has said that you can test if your local shelter in place allows for small groups, but if it doesn't, and a lot of clubs are canceling. I know they are in the northwestern region. I don't know if the Mount Diablo folks are doing it. That's a different section right now, but the division manager up here, who I think is in charge of that section, is saying we're going to cancel everything until maybe the December timeframe. And yes, we know that the extra pool is going to get re-released in July 1st. So I'm in that boat right now. I'm ready to take my extra test, but my club is canceled, and other clubs that I know of in the division have canceled. I'm still got one more phone call to make to see if I can get in a different city. I know Fairfield is canceled till December. And how does that affect with the pool being changed and re-released in July? It's all kind of a mess right now, especially for the extra class exam.
Yeah, I need to study some more for that general because it's going to be quite a kick. I've looked at the book.
Oh, you're going to do great. Hey, do we got a couple of guys we haven't heard from? Did we hear from like Matt? And I see Fred might have snuck in the back door. I don't know if Mike's been able to chime in. Any of you guys want to jump in?
Sure. This is Mike. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
We hear you good, Fred. Mike?
Okay, good. I'm streaming from a property I have out in a rural area, so I didn't know how well I got back. I can make comments. I've got the 991A and the ICOM 7300.
Whoa.
You know, it's a toss-up. It's really all in what you enjoy. So I like both. I host every now and then a net. So I on C4 FM. So I enjoy Wires X, which, you know, you got to have the 991A for that capability. On the downside of the 991A, if you want to integrate your 991A with Wires X PDN, your personal digital node, you can't do that with the 991A. And with the 7300, I've got a lot of pluses. You've heard a lot of them tonight. I took some notes. From work, I can remotely access my ICOM 7300 and my 9700, which I enjoy. You can record, which is great. You can't do that. You can do that with the 9700 and the 7300. Can't do that with my 991A.
And
I do like my 991A, by the way.
That records on an SD card, right?
Yeah, SD card for both devices. Cool. As for the what you had mentioned, Jason, about maybe not the resolution. The resolution on the 991A is not that great at all, so I'm not so sure how there's this oversaturation thing. Last night, the bands were popping, and I saw a lot of activity on 60 meter, 10 meter, 12 meter, 40 and 20, and it just seemed saturated then. Maybe I haven't seen it all, but I could go wherever I wanted. I didn't have an issue, but I can tell you on my 991A, I can't even see that granularly. I just can't. So I'm not disputing that comment. That's the first time I've heard it, and gonna look into that.
You know, I just wanted to pass that along.
Oh yeah, no, I think you should, because it's been mentioned by other people, but just giving my feedback. So I really do like both. You know, if you're in a bind, and the comment about having two radios that Nick had mentioned for VHF and UHF, that's super important to me. So I love having it all, but when I go camping, if I'm traveling light, I don't want to bring my 9700 and my 7300. I'm going to bring the 991A. I'm just fortunate to have all three. So I know that doesn't help you with your decision, but I'm throwing it all out there.
Fantastic.
Yeah, well, I'm sitting here with a little bullfang with a rubber ducky on the top of it, and I listen to 9 o'clock, noon, and 9 p.m. nets that they have here in the Seattle area, and there's a combination of 991As, and there's a combination of 7300s, and they all sound good, and they're all coming across great on this little bullfang. But I inherited it when I went to look at some model airplanes and pick up some gear, and it fell in the box with my model airplane stuff, so I charged it up, and lo and behold, it's working pretty good for listening on this thing. I know.
Hey, Mike.
I will make one other comment real quick. Is I'm a broadcast engineer, and I've got a radio guy in the hobby who just joined, and we're both of the opinion that the ICOMs seem to sound superior. We've done extensive testing with the 9700, recording ourselves on each end, compared to a 991A. And not that this would ever impact your decision, but hands down, the ICOM sounds better audibly. I mean, there's a lot more you can do with it too, and it's easier to do so. You don't hear that comment from many people, but I'm an audio guy, so
yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, I've also done some audio stuff. Hey, here's another quick question, Mike, for you. What about software integration and computer, integration with each of the different ones, Yaesu versus ICOM? What are your thoughts?
So when you do a update with your 7300 or your 9700, make sure you do a backup of your settings if you don't already have it on an RT systems or whatever. It all goes away. I don't think I had that experience with the 991A. When I do a firmware update, and let me think this through. I think it's a little easier with the ICOMs for your software updates too, by the way. It's been a while since I've done the 991A update. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. Another question.
Yeah.
Another question is getting a log or software package that runs on the computer that the ease of hooking the computer to either radio.
I didn't follow that. What you were saying.
There's
For
software out there that you can download that reads the call signs and names of individuals that are coming across your radio, and it puts it into a logger piece of software on a computer for you. But,
oh yeah.
Everybody runs their call signs so fast, I can't get them down.
Yeah, guys, help me out. I forget the name of that software. I'm sure one of you know.
NetLogger?
I've heard of it. I haven't used it. No, it's not NetLogger. It can automatically log everything. I think you can do that with an ICOM.
Is that a ham radio deluxe?
Yeah, ham radio deluxe.
I don't own that yet, but from what I understand, it is the Cadillac. Grabbing the call signs would be tricky, but you know, if your radio has a USB interface, which both radios we're talking about does, that USB, I believe they call it a USB-A. It's the square guy, kind of like in the back of a printer. And then you plug in the other USB-B into your computer. And in most cases, especially if you're on a Windows, although I have gotten stuff to work on a Mac, but your logging software, and there's a handful, N1, MM, Ham Radio Deluxe, you know, there's a bunch, but that will follow your radio, which is fantastic. So as you scroll around and move the frequency, it'll follow it. It'll grab whatever band it's in. But in my case, the ones I've used so far, you have to enter in the call sign manually. But a good logger will be hooked to the internet, and it'll start guessing the call sign you're typing in, and then once you finish it, you can tab over, and it auto-populates their name, their location, and all of that. So that's the experience I have with it so far.
So, Mike, if you had to, if you had to, pick a radio, well, I guess let's see, how would I say this? So, if you wanted to do, you wanted to get into HF stuff, right? And then you knew you wanted to do some digital stuff, mostly fusion. And anybody can jump in with this, has an idea about this, but I mean, would it maybe be better to go with the ICOM, so IC7300, and then get a Yaesu, a FTM400D or something like that, and do the fusion stuff?
That's what I would do. But that is a personal preference, totally personal. It really is. I can't emphasize that enough. So you just hit the nail on the head for me. I love the ICOM 7300 for, I sit there, I could show you right now. I look at those peaks I see, and I know there's a station, and I can tell how well that station is coming in. And I know if it's worth my while to go there. And then I can jump onto my FTM 400, which I don't have in the shack. I could if I wanted. I've got one in my car. But I love the C4FM and Wires X capability. And that FTM 400, in my opinion, when we're talking about just Wires X and C4FM, will blow the pants off the 991A. And there's no offense to the 991A. It's just a fact. In fact, it's a dual band VHF UHF radio, truly. So that would be my preference. But I can't tell you what your preference would be. It's just my part of the hobby and how I use it. So yeah.
Well,
and you can
that sounds
some
like
money doing that. By the way,
fusion.
I'm going to make one more comment.
ICOM doesn't do fusion.
Yeah, well, it does D-Star. But I will say, but if Wires X, and as long as you understand what Wires X is, it's just using an internet capability, interlinking all of these C4FM repeaters that participate. If that doesn't mean anything to you, find a good sale at HRO, and I've got a 3200, FTM 3200 in front of me. It does C4FM for $120 when you catch a sale. So you're set. You could have the ICOM 7300, which is in front of me, and this 3200. And you're golden. I mean, okay, I'll throw this out there. I'm a 2-meter fan for the most part. This 3200 only does 2 meter, but you can find another model that does both VHF and UHF, and you can save a lot of money and have that premium icon, which no one is disputing is a great radio. I don't know if that helped, but there you have it.
No, yeah, that actually helps a whole lot. And that was kind of the route I was thinking, but I didn't know if that was sacrilege to have a Yaesu and an ICOM in your shack.
Hey, let's say hello to Scott real quick, everybody.
Hey guys. Yeah, I got it. So I've been trying to participate on the net all night long, and I got kids pulling me in every direction to help them with homework. It's crazy over here. But I got 3 girls. They're just trying to get homework done. It's been crazy. But so look, I'm saving up for an HF rig. I have an ICOM 707, and it's an older rig, maybe 15, 20 years old, and it's okay, but it doesn't have any filtering. You know, it's a great entry level rig. But and I'm just borrowing it from my father. But what I'd like to do, I'm shopping around. I'm saving my monies. I'm about a third of the way there. So, and hopefully in the next year I'll have one. So I'm shopping. I'm looking at even 7300 or the FTDX 3000 from Yaesu. I'm not looking at the 891 because I already have an FTM100D that does all of the 2 meter and digital stuff that I need from the Yaesu world. So I don't need the 8991 stuff, but I do want a really good HF rig. So has anyone played with the FTDX 3000? Any thoughts or feelings about that versus the 7300? And granted, I know the 7300 is a it escapes me, but it's a pure, more digital radio. But any thoughts about those 2 radios?
Jason, Google that up for us. Come on now.
All right, I'm on it.
7300 uses SDR.
Yeah. So and whereas the FTDX 3000 is not SDR, but it is built on the FTDX 5000 circuitry, which is apparently is like the Cadillac of radios out there right now as far as sensitivity and great. So you're getting the FTDX 5000 guts in an interface that's down to the cost level of your 7300. It is a little bit more. I think it's a few $100s more. But you know, you got 3 antenna inputs. You can do a separate receive antenna.
Yeah, I'm looking at that now. Look at all these ports in the back.
Yeah. Your I/O is better, right? Your I/O is better. So you don't get the DSR stuff, but you do get more outs. What I've heard you can do, and help me out. I'm still new with this terminology, but there's a port on the back of that allows you to go. Keep that screen there for a second, Jason. One of those ports allows you. I think it's the 8 on the side there. Some of those allow you to go out to another device that gives you a better waterfall and O-scope and all that stuff. So even though it's not as pretty and smooth as a 7300, you can skip over the 7300 and go straight into your computer and get even a way better digital radio out of it.
You get pan adapter functionality.
Yeah. Pan adapter, thank you.
I think a lot of times they call it an IF out. If a radio has a true, what does that stand for? Ed, do you know?
Intermediate frequency, right?
Right.
Right. So you get with the pan adapter and your computer, you can kick the snot out of that little 7300 screen with this guy. So apparently that's the killer feature that this has.
That's the cheaper version of the Elecraft K3.
Which is, I hear, is a nice radio. I haven't dug too deep into that.
That's your Cadillac right there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's too expensive though. I remember it being above a couple $1,000s.
A couple, yeah. Try something like that.
Yeah. I remember being. I tell you, I'm not going to spend more than about $1,200-$1,300. So I'm looking at this guy.
Next time you live in the Bay Area?
No, I'm in Sacramento. I'm actually in Roseville,
you're
guys.
in Sacramento, so you know where San Ramon is.
I know where San Ramon is. Yeah.
So provided that this year we have a Pacificon in October.
Right. I went to last year.
The CPAC just got canceled, so I don't know where Pacificon's going just yet. But go there and meet the people from Elecraft. ICOM will be there too. You can look at their stuff, but just take a look at Elecraft and what they have and how much it costs, and you'll know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I actually went to Pacificon last year, and I did stop by all the different booths. I didn't get a chance to talk to Elecraft guys. I didn't know what that was. I never heard of it until then. But I think it's outside of my budget, unfortunately, at this stage of the hobby.
Yeah, I hear you.
So again, any thoughts about this guy? I mean, if you had to choose between these two, and these are the two I'm considering.
A pen adapter on a bigger screen is always better. I mean, with the 7610, I can throw that up on a monitor. I think I showed you that. We don't have that port on the 7300. But I pretty much know from using the 7610 where I want to go. So I just hit my push to talk button and it flips over to the other radio and I know what I got. You can certainly use HRD and throw it up on a screen and get a bigger picture there. There's a lot of ways you can go with that. It's all about how intense or how defined you want to see all the signals. The 7610 has a big screen. Elecraft didn't have that, so they made the pen adapter, and it's a separate piece. On the 7300, yeah, the screen is small. Is there a capability of bringing it up to a monitor and making the monitor real big? Probably. Do you need that? I don't know.
I like buttons. I mean, menus I can appreciate too, but one of the reasons I like this is it seems to have a good balance of buttons and menus. So, and I'm a Yaesu guy too. I have an icon as well.
People, there's touchscreen people, and then there's button people, right?
Yeah, I like more buttons than menus. So anyways, I'll take it back to, I guess, our pseudo net control here. So thanks for your input.
That's a great idea of a radio. I really like that a lot. I'm just looking at the price. I mean, they want a good $1,500. You know, I mean this radio, this 3000. I went to a few different websites. It's a good $1,600, and you know, right now that darn ICOM is like $800 some. So I don't know what to think about that price point, but. Yeah, you're right. This is a beautiful radio, and you got all the knobs and buttons, and I love that back panel, just looking at it and kind of doing what I like to do, messing about. That is a very cool option.
Well, and again, guys, it's built on it is built on the FTDX 5000. I mean, it probably doesn't have everything, obviously, because I mean that's probably twice the price or 3 times the price, but you get a lot of the engine that's in that FTX 5000 into this guy. So this is the baby brother of that radio.
I'll tell you, I got their microphone for Christmas. It's like a $900 and some microphone. I took it back to HRO and I traded it in for 2 Heil mics and 2 booms.
Was that your wife that bought it?
Yeah.
I guess she guessed wrong. She was close, huh?
Yeah. It looks really nice. It's a beautiful mic.
Oh, that's funny.
A couple of comments rolling in through YouTube. Some guys, I guess, that haven't joined us in Zoom. Not that they can't, but Chuck is a fan, obviously, of the of that radio too, the 3000. He's telling all kinds of great stuff about it. KK6USY digital analog ham is there, and he says he's got a 991A, and he uses SDR Play as a pen adapter. Needs a switch to isolate the SDR Play.
Yep.
You know, the beautiful things is we can pull hairs on all of these radios, and at the end of the day, the capability of them to get the everyday user on HF to experience the hobby is capable on every single one of them. So although there are so many different features and benefits, and I mean, it could go on all night with which one is better and which one is worse, but really it doesn't matter. If you can get your hands on an HF rig and get on the air and enjoy having some conversation, that's the real winner.
And if you guys want to hear a little dirty secret, I don't know how many people are going to watch this back at 2.5 hours, but you know, all the reasons we talked about led me to the 991A. But there was one I haven't shared with many people, and it's kind of funny. You go on YouTube, not a lot of 991As out there. And so that also tipped my scale. I said, you know what? There's no way I want to buy another 7300 and make another bloody video about the 7300. So I thought that was kind of a funny tidbit. I haven't really told a lot of people what helped me push over the edge for the 991A, but I really like that 3000. Great bringing that up. Thank you.
Hey, Mike.
You know, I think that.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, Rick. Sorry, Nick. I think the only thing that I'd be missing if we were going with kind of what I was talking about with Mike, which is, a FTM 400 and the IC 7300. The only thing that would be missing there would be the VHF, UHF sideband stuff. And that was, which I don't even have an antenna for yet. So, I mean, I'm not missing what I don't know about. But anyway, so, that's whenever I look at that option, that's really kind of the only thing I'd be missing. So I think that, those two rigs would cover everything else.
Yeah, I have the FTM 400 XDR on Fusion, and it's a great radio. I talked to my son who lives in an apartment in San Jose. No antennas, crystal clear. I connect all over the world. It's a great little deal. I have an antenna on it too if I want to go local. So that FTM 400 XDR is a great radio.
Hey, I want to give Bert an opportunity. Bert, we're not keeping you from talking, are you? I just want to make sure you have a chance, buddy.
No, I'm not. You are talking all the stuff that I want to hear.
Cool.
I mean, there's one thing where, because I am new at being a technician, I've only had it since the beginning of February, right? And you guys are all talking about getting an HF rig and all this and that. And I was like, oh man, do I want to get one? I still don't even have a general license yet. And then I'm like thinking, okay, if I get a 7300, how it is, because it is cheap, then I'm like, okay, do I have enough room for an antenna for something like that? Even to get to 40 meters is even going to be hard on a small lot.
Right, exactly.
That's why I'm looking at vertical. Bert, I've done quite a bit of research on that. I'm kind of in that same situation. I've got a small backyard, and so yeah, there's a lot of videos out there on a lot of folks doing it and talking all over the world. In fact, the guy in my neighborhood, he talks all over the world on a vertical, and so looks like a pretty good way to go. Unless you're an HOA, that's a different situation.
That's the other problem too. Is like I am renting my house, but it's like there is a HOA, but I don't know how strictly that. I haven't seen what kind of rules they have or anything like that.
Right. Now, one thing I do want to quickly show, and this is on YouTube, and a lot of you maybe already will know this, but websdr.org, a tremendous website, a platform. It's free to use, and there's two that I love. There's one in northern Utah, and it has like a picture of a beehive with antenna. And there's another one called KFS WebSDR in out here in San Francisco, Half Moon Bay. And so what these can do is I can click on it, and I can show all bands. Is this gives you the ability right now at home or a phone or tablet to listen in to any of the HF bands that's happening right now. And that's a huge tool when you're trying to learn. Obviously you watch, you listen, and this is a really neat tool. I mean, for me, just in 2016, when I first looked at this thing, I didn't understand what lower and upper sideband was. That's a question on the general test. When do you use lower sideband? When do you use upper sideband? And you start learning that by pushing all these buttons and just navigating this website, and you'll learn a lot more than I thought I did or would using this website. So very cool stuff. Sorry if you already knew about it, a bit of boring. But if you haven't, go check this out. Way cool stuff.
Yeah, thanks, Jason. That actually just went there. That's cool.
Even when you get your general and you're on HF with a radio and the signal's weak, you can use SDR and you can hear the signal really good because these repeaters are up high. These antennas are up high, and you can hear this really crystal clear over the internet, and you can transmit on your radio, and it works great.
Cool.
Hey, Landon, a comment for you.
Yeah, sure, man.
Yeah, you were mentioning single sideband. You were speaking, I think you were referring to probably 2 meter, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, so make sure that is something you want to get involved with in your area, or you're ready to put up an antenna horizontally, because you'll find
My apologies.
there's somebody
Wow, look at
speaker there. Or
Hello, I'm back.
But I was just going to make the. All right, great. I was just going to make the comment, Landon, that you make sure that the single sideband you're after really is there, because it's really quiet where I'm at. I've got some friends where we do single sideband, but it's largely quiet. So if that was one of your deciding factors, I'm all for it, by the way. And that's one great reason for having the 991A. But just understand it may not be as gratifying as you're thinking.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, it sounds like HF is just a lot more fun than that. And so, you know, and that's, to be honest with you, it's not a deal breaker for me, because it's something that my club does some, but not a whole lot. Of course, it's got to be open, you know, and so, yeah, it happens sometimes, but to be honest with you, it's not a deal breaker. That's not where I really want to be. I want to be in the digital stuff, and I want to be in the, and HF, you know, so that's where now I'm looking at it going, well, maybe there is another option here. So I was kind of sold on the 991 just because of the, it all really well, you know, and so, yeah, I may start looking at another route. I'm sorry, Jason, because I've watched all your videos, but
totally understandable.
You almost had me sold. Hey, Bert, you may be a new tech, but keep in mind that all of 6 meters is open to us, and also part of 10 meter also. So that's something to think about.
Yeah, I mean, I have my 8900R. I have, but it's only an FM for the 6 and 10. But I mean, I don't get anything really on it. I mean, I have that quad band antenna that Yaesu makes for it, or I think it's where is it? Who is it that makes it? It's like that 8900 also antenna made specifically.
Oh yeah, Diamond, I think.
Yeah, yep. The Diamond.
Yep.
The Diamond one.
I'd definitely be keeping an eye on 6 and 10 meters. It definitely has been kind of jumping on the East Coast. A lot of reports.
Configurations. Keep in mind, you know, you can almost for next to nothing make a dipole if you're running it into an antenna tuner, and you're basically just hanging a piece of wire up in the air. You can make those things almost completely invisible to people driving by. So if you're worried about, like, you know, drawing attention or stuff, you throw a vertical up, people are going to notice. But if you're hanging like a G5 RV style dipole, you can hide that around the roof line of your house. You know, run it kind of different directions and stuff. You might have to play with the configuration to get the best receive and transmit that you can get out of whatever you have available to you, but you can hide them. I've been in HOAs all over the place that don't allow, that flat out say don't allow antennas, period, and been able to put them up with little to no notice. I'm also in an HOA right now that says no antennas, and I have a 20-foot collinear vertical, so we'll see how long that lasts. But yeah, it's something that's available. There's an antenna to meet every single need out there. Just do research online for them.
When you guys get a little more room and you have a few city blocks, I'm going to be bringing to market my my Sphere, Super Sphere, and my Porcupine Special back here, coming to the market soon. You need about 6 square, city blocks, but definitely can get
awesome.
out with these things. So coming to market soon.
Hey, I wanted to say hello to Walt. Looks like we got a Raiders fan. Must be here in the Bay Area.
Got my Raiders cap back there. Yeah.
How's it going, Walt?
Doing good. I got invited here through Francisco, W6MHS.
Oh, cool.
And he said join this net. So, or I think it was Matt. Maybe it's KE7UEF in Seattle. But either way, it's nice to join. This is great. Yeah, we were doing this with our group a little bit, probably about a week ago. And it was nice to get on EchoLink and be able to get on here also. But this is cool when I get more of the people on here.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks for coming in. We're here every Wednesday at 7. We start the net on our repeater with a bunch of digital linked options. And then we kind of let the repeater go because we probably cook the heck out of it for a while. And then we just kind of hang out a little bit, talk radio.
Cool. Yeah, very nice. Yeah. Good to meet everybody here.
Here's my setup. If I turn the lap sensor sharing here.
Ooh, yeah.
A little FTM 100 on top, a little power supply there. I think everyone can see that. Let's see. And then you got the Formidable Deluxe Versa Turner 2 there. And then let's see if I can angle that down a little bit more. And then we got an ICOM 707 there. Looking at the YouTube, it's a little slow, a little lag there. But anyways, very simple setup. And then I've got a Diamond X30 at about 14, 15 feet up. I'm in an HOA as well. And so I have to hide my HF antennas. I hide them in the trees and then along the fence line at my 80 meter. So my backyard is M-shaped, right? And so the apex of the M is where my center for my dipole for the 80 meter goes. And the 80 goes up about 10 feet, and then it goes inverted V down and lays across or near the top of the fence. And it works really good at night. I swear on 100 watts, I have no problem reaching North Washington and South California. No problem. On decent propagation nights, and then I have an off-center 40 meter, 20 meter dipole, and it's up about 20 feet. And I'm not really happy with it. It could be tuned better. You're compromising on that antenna, and with these propagation patterns right now, I'm not really getting out on it. So my plan for this summer is to take that antenna down, use that as my portable antenna, and then put up 2 new dipoles, one that's tuned for 20 and one tuned for 40, and see about getting them a little higher up off the ground, maybe 30 feet if I can. So that's my project for this summer.
Did you say you just that you live in Roseville?
Yes.
Okay. I just moved out of Roseville 2 months ago.
I'm over in Johnson Ranch, if you know where that's at.
Kinda, yeah. I was just off of Foothills and Pleasant Grove area.
Oh, okay. I used to live over there too, across from the Chili's and the Target on Fairway and Strata.
Were you a ham when you moved in to this HR?
Yes, I was. I've been a tech since 2011, and then last summer I got my extra. I jumped to Jextra.
Because I feel like, as far as HOAs go, I definitely hear that a lot, and I feel for everyone that is. And I know sometimes you really just can't help it. But I often wonder, did they become licensed or maybe just active? Maybe they were licensed a long time. They became active after they decided to purchase their home, and you're like, what did I do?
I was less. That was me. I was a little less active, or I was basically 2 meter only. And in that case, I was just doing mag mounts on a rail and taking it down. It was pretty easy.
Because
but my antennas, I mean, no one's gonna see these things. I have a lot of trees in the backyard, and for those of you who don't know Roseville, I'm on the east side of Roseville, which is a little more older and greener, a lot more trees. Where Nick came from and where I came from a while ago, that's a lot more newer development and not a lot of trees. The properties are a lot smaller. So if you do move to Roseville, I would recommend East Roseville rather than West Roseville.
Yeah, I feel like for me, if my wife, I don't know if she's out here, it would be pretty brutal if she's like, hey, we're going to move into an HOA. I'd be like, whoa. It'd be like one of those cartoons where you see the nails just dragging across the ground.
I don't feel like honestly, I don't feel like I'm in an HOA, except for the fact that, a couple times a week, a crew comes out and cleans my lawn, takes care of my lawn. And I can't complain about that. So,
you just have to,
it's not too bad.
You just have to move your Porsche for them kind of thing.
That's not that nice. But anyway, I'm new on the HF side. I'm a little disappointed. I do call out, like, Georgia had their QSO party this weekend. I tried to call out a bunch of times. They just didn't hear me. Now, when propagation's decent, you get out on 5 watts. I have been able to get out on 20 meters on 5 watts on the antennas that I have where they're at right now. But it just happened to be lucky that day. I just want to increase my chances. And anyway, so, typical problem. Propagation or not enough amps to compensate for that. But anyways, I know this is the bottom of the solar cycles. I'm excited to see what happens when the sun really starts cooking.
Hey Scott, if you ever want to try out HF, if you feel like you're getting pretty good propagation north south, like you said, we can get you set up with a link to our group me, and pretty much 2 or 3 times a week we've got a group of people that are getting on HF and just trying out different signals, seeing who's hearing who.
Oh, okay.
And stuff. So
I would be interested in that. Yeah.
Yeah, you're welcome to join into that, and we can get you linked up with some people. I'm on there. Jason's on there quite a bit. There's a lot of people in the Bay Area. So if you're not hearing someone like me, you might pick up, someone closer, and then you can kind of get an idea, how is my signal, how is my antenna, radiating? Am I getting closer shots? Am I getting further shots and stuff? Just a good tool to use. We do it all the time. So.
Yeah, I'll pay attention to that if you put that in the comments, or how, I don't know how you link into that, but is that the Vacaville Radio Club resource, or?
No, it's just a group of us. What we can do is
we'll get it to them.
Why don't you look me up on
Okay.
QRZ and send me an email, and I'll get you an invite to the group. It's my call sign's KN6DAL. Just shoot me an email here, and then when I get a chance, I'll get you an invite sent.
Okay, thanks, Nick.
Yeah.
Hey, one more quick question for Jason or Nick. So when you guys did the live stream for YouTube, and people were whether they're using EchoLink or DMR, was C4 FM an option on there also?
Not yet. No, not yet.
Currently, no. Unless somebody bridges in through something else. If they've done that themselves, they probably could be on their end using it, but no. I do understand that that's in the works. Go ahead and speak to that, Jason.
Yeah, we have a C4 FM, a Yaesu Fusion repeater within our club, but right now it's still low level and it's being tested. So not quite yet. We're getting closer.
Gotcha.
Hey, I asked you, Jason, in the chat, and Mike had mentioned this, that one of the cons may have been with the 991A that you can't record full QSO audio. Is there a way to link that to your computer to record or anything like that? So say you hear something that you want to record. Is there a way to connect that to do it?
Ooh, that's it does have a built-in sound card, which I use for FT8, but I don't know if
I think I've seen it once.
You've seen that?
I've seen it on you. I think I've seen it on YouTube. Yeah, if it's got a sound card, it would. Then you would play it into oh gosh, guys, Audacity or whatever. You can record it in there. Yeah, I think I've seen that.
Yeah, and one thing I made a comment in the chat is it does have the ability to record you calling CQ, and then you can save that as different quick function buttons, so you can push like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it'll repeat whatever your recording is, calling CQ. If you want to say a longer CQ phrase or something short and sweet. So that's kind of nice to have when you're out there in the field.
I know the FTM 100D, when you install the optional voice chip, can record QSOs, I believe.
I got
the 71 or 9700 and 7300 can, as long as you have the SD card loaded.
Yeah, that's cool.
So,
does anybody have any experience using a Mac iOS with their radios versus PC? From what I see, most of the software is PC based stuff. What's your
You got a
thoughts?
Mac, don't you, Jason?
Yeah, I recently just divorced Apple, but I've been a longtime fanboy. I still somewhat am, but it was a little challenging. That's kind of a video I've often thought about making, because I used probably 3 different videos and forums to get my 991A working on FT8. So that was a bit of a trick. I had to put on like a virtual sound driver, so then the Yaesu could talk through USB into the Mac, and then the Mac would understand what it's saying audibly. Again, because this is FT8, and then FT8, if you ever listen to it, it has that alien warbling sound. And so that took a little bit to get to work, but it is doable. But you will find you are limited recently I showed this little dongle. I could not get this to work on my Mac. Impossible. Ham Radio Deluxe we talked about, a fantastic software. It is probably one of the higher price points. I think it's around $100. That is not for a Mac. So there is a couple things that you can't do, and depending where you're at in your current situation with computers and building and what direction you want to go, I kind of recommend building a PC. As long as you're not going to do crazy video stuff, you can put together a really nice PC, $200-300. I just built one from my daughter. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I thought about that option. I'm not going to divorce Mac because I've been using it for so long. But knowing that having a designated PC, that I could eventually build for a couple $100 to just run software for the radio would be a good way to go. So hey, that's all good information. Hey guys, I'm gonna sign off here. I'm gonna say 7-3. It was great talking to everybody, and I will see you guys back on the net next week.
Hey Landon, let me throw one in real quick on you because you're a Mac man, and you're definitely doing the right thing there.
Yeah, shoot.
I've been using now. I always fought it, but I run Parallels on there now, and you could basically have Windows running in a window on your Mac, and man, it works great. The drivers work, the USB stuff works. I thought I was going to have to do the same thing and get a separate PC, but so far, touch wood, I'm making all that software work. So something to check out as well. Like we always say, there's 1,000,001 options, right? There's 20 ways to skin a cat, and they all take a knife, right?
I was going to add, I don't know if you guys can hear me. I work with Mac and FarmBot, but I'm running Linux and Ubuntu to drive the MQTT server for FarmBot. So what we had to do is we had a 64 gig RAM Mac, and we ran VirtualBox, and those we loaded Ubuntu and Windows 10 on both.
Wow.
For a single monolith machine. So check out VirtualBox for Mac. Run those on your Mac, and then you can load the ISOs of Ubuntu, and Windows 10 automatically licenses for Mac because they know you're running on a Mac.
Oh.
And that'll get you Windows 10 on your Macintosh within a virtual machine.
All right. Hey, that's good info, Chris and Walt.
Yeah, it's all free.
Yeah. Maybe I won't have to jump ship. So hey, I'm gonna say 7-3. I'm gonna sign off. You guys take care.
All right.
I gotta jump off too, gentlemen. It's been great. It's been fun.
Yeah.
It's been great fun. So 7-3 to all. We'll see you next time.
Landon, Ed, thanks for coming by.
Yeah, not a problem. Yeah, we'll probably wrap this here.
Yeah.
In a few here.
It's 10 o'clock.
But I just wanted to share because I'm pretty excited. This website, I'm pretty excited about building this PC. So PCPartPicker.com. Really cool, fun website. You go check out all the different builds. You can build your own, spec it out. And come to find out, Windows 10 is free. I'm using Windows 10 right now on this computer. It just gives you a watermark every once in a while, and you can't change your wallpaper, but I'm using it for free.
You can also get it from the Insider Preview program, and you can get that free. And they develop on your machine. I put in a virtual machine, so you can get it free. And it will have the watermark, but with the Insider program, you're actually helping Microsoft build their basic core OS.
Oh,
so
very
I run
cool.
a lot of Windows Insider Preview on older machines. I downloaded the latest ISO, and that'll install without needing a product key, and then you can just run it. They'll update it. They'll give all the things. It might crash a few times and reboot, but the Windows Insider program, preview program, we've been on for years now. It works out great for ham radio. Yeah.
Awesome. Man, well, shoot, Walt, you sound like a pretty smart guy. I mean, naturally we all are, but right on. Great stuff.
Hey, Nick, just want to thank Nick for doing control tonight. He did a great job. Really kept the pace going. And a few people, saw comments in YouTube. You probably weren't able to follow along, but people thought that short and kind of abbreviated check-in went real well. Good comments going on. So
good.
Nice
I'm
job.
glad that worked. We kind of deliberated over that for a while, figuring out what was best for everybody. And I tried really hard not to be one-sided, but I really am glad that we ended up going that way. Because a couple people wanted to do the check-ins, and some people didn't. But thank you for the comment. I appreciate it. I did see the comment. My mom jumped in there. Did anybody?
Yes.
That really was your mom?
Yeah.
I thought it was a joke. That's so great.
I was about to break in and go, oh, by the way, hey, Mom.
I'm on TV.
Yeah,
That's funny.
That was awesome. But no, I'm ecstatic for what has become of this. And my hope is that if anything, if every time we do this, we reach out to one person that is like just more pumped to get their ticket and get on the air and get involved and keep the ham radio community alive. That's kind of the purpose behind it.
Yeah,
whatever it takes to do that, I'm willing and ready to do. And there's a lot of people that are part of the 2 Meter crew that are willing and ready to do it. So it's super exciting to see all of the feedback that everybody's given. So thanks, Chris.
Yeah. And the other thing is we're always looking for ideas, for the people that are left here in Zoom or anyone that's made it this far in this video, 3 hours. But if you've got something you want to talk about, please bring it to us. Or if you want to hear something, I mean, we figure out pretty much a day or two before Wednesday what the heck we're going to even talk about.
I wanted to know more about SWR meters or whatever. Is that like a tool that you all have, or is that like an optional kind of thing?
That's a great topic, and I think maybe if we can get Kevin on next week, maybe he'll talk about that. He's got this pretty cool technique where you can use an SWR meter, and the short answer is yes. I think every shack should have an SWR meter. Sometimes it's nice if it's a combo SWR and power. And the reason being is every once in a while you want to glance over at that, especially if you're on HF or if you're running 25, 50 watts on 2 meters, and you just want to see and make sure your needle is laying as close to 1-to-1 as possible. But Kevin's got some neat tips and tricks on how to take an SWR meter and tune your antenna with only an SWR meter, as most can do a forward and then a reverse reflection of the SWR, and you can save money that way. It's a little bit extra work, but great topic. We could definitely dive in to SWR meters, tuners. I'm just looking around my shack. I got a couple of those things, and that's a great swap meet pickup and find too.
Yeah, I mean, especially with the whole Corona thing, it's
yeah, so much for them.
Kind of shuts off all that swap meets and stuff.
They don't have to be anything fancy either. I got my first SWR meter. I'll pull it out here. I got at a ham fest. I'll see if I can get it up here so everybody can see it. I got this with a antenna tuner and a part that, embarrassingly enough, I don't even know what it does. So I'll show that next. But I got this and the other two parts for $5 at a ham fest. Nothing fancy, but this does essentially everything the higher quality ones. I don't use this one anymore. I have another one that I use, but this is just an example of just an analog SWR power meter. It also does a field strength meter, so you can see on the back. You can just hook up a wire and test for RF strength in the surrounding area. But yeah, it doesn't have to be anything fancy. It's just got to be enough to help you get that antenna to a usable point. And this was the thing. I don't even know what this does.
I remember where you were talking about that in the repeater.
Digidial model MFJ 210. If anybody knows what this is or what it does, please let me know, because it's archaic and I don't even know how it works. But that's it. There's an input and an output on the back, and a power adapter that I don't have.
You can go on Amazon, although maybe not right now, and you can buy these really cool wall warts power adapters, and there's a switch, and you can select your voltage, and then it comes with probably 10 different plugs, so then you can kind of adapt and plug things in. That's some of the things I've done in my shack, because you buy stuff from a swap, you a lot of times you won't get the cables or cords.
Well, that thing's older than me. I'm afraid to plug it into anything.
Just make sure you're on a wood bench.
Right.
This can add also the maintenance of those meters as well as tuners. Simple deoxidant D5 is antioxidant cleaner And you can open up those MFJs. I've got an MFJ tuner, and just spray everything in there, including all the contacts, and it definitely makes things work out. I always do it pre-field day.
Wow.
Take every connector and run deoxid D5. It's a definite thing if you search for it online. Radio Shack used to sell it when they were open, but when I do that, things are just great. It's great for audio too. We have digital mixers and things that I use in the studio, so I spray everything prior to using it, and you get better frequency response. Same with radio, better contact.
I miss Radio Info. Thank you.
Yeah, deoxid D5. Yep.
Very cool. Well, all right, guys. Does anybody else have any last comments or questions?
Thanks for hanging in there, Mike. You're I don't know what your time zone is, but you're up late.
I am. Let's see. It's 1:09
Woo!
in the AM.
The
Bad.
standard ham time.
Not so bad. not so bad because I'm quarantined from our studios at work until the guy gets his test from being sick over the weekend.
Yeah. And we still got like 26, I think, tuned into the YouTube. So in spite of these faces made for radio, we're still got some people tuned in.
Yeah. They could have fell asleep with it still on, though.
26 still, after 3 hours, still hanging in there. We are gluttons for punishment, right?
Yeah. Well, all right, guys. It's been a lot of fun. I think this wraps up a Wednesday. I'm off to work tomorrow. Business as usual. But, yeah, come back next Wednesday. Please join us. You know, we fire the Zoom invite to a few individuals that are going to bring something to the table. And again, that could be anybody. You know, I can bring you in via Zoom, or you can come in through our repeater digitally. But then, as you saw, about an hour or so later, we just throw it in there and hope we don't get hacked. Everyone always tells us about Zoom hackers. It's kind of fun at this point. But great. Well, thank you, everyone. Name here is Jason, KM6FAK. I'll let everyone go around the Zoom and give your name and call sign.
KN6DAL 73. Everybody, Nick.
KR0EFR, Bert from Fairfield.
N6CMB, Chris in Clayton, California.
N6SMH, Scott in Roseville.
All right, I think I'm the last one. KC6ESN here in Colton, California. 73 to everybody, and God bless. Really nice to meet you guys.
Perfect. All right, guys.
Thanks. Bye.
Don't touch your face. Stay healthy.
See ya.